Microphone.
And we are live. Guys, yeah, my microphone is back. Yeah, thanks for saying that, Baz. Usually this StreamYard sometimes, I don't know. But you know what? We're back in that show, yeah? Say, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to the show, yeah? Today's show is the Premiership Watch. And of course, I got special guests around here. But my number one special guest down here, of course, making his comeback to the show again, guys. Guys, you know I love this guy, yeah, with my heart. We're always doing lots of shows together before, but it went away. But he's back to the flock again, guys. I want to welcome Manny Tangadera to the show. Manny, you're welcome, man.
Yeah, good to be back. Good to be back. I mean, listen, I haven't gone anywhere, just been busy, and we've always sort of been in each other's crosshairs in some way or another. Obviously, differing schedules meant that we couldn't actually come together. But listen, my schedule got free. Normally at this time, I would have been. I had to make sure I had a shower to make myself freshen up just to come back for you. And
because you look fresh, man.
Yeah, listen, when you go to the gym and work up a sweat, there's no way that you can sit over here in that funk looking like absolute roadkill and doing a stream. It is not proper. Baz, you can agree with me, can't you?
Absolutely, man. Big up.
Absolutely. See it, guys. I got another guest here. Guys, you guys know how strongly I rate this guy and how much I love this guy too. See, it's not a person that my big friend down here, Baz from Liverpool, from the Liverpool channel, Baz LVFC TV. See, my guy, man. Talk to these people, man. You're welcome to the show.
Yeah, big up, man. Big up. Thank you for having me. Big up to Manny and top team, man. Hope you guys are well. It's a pleasure being on here, guys. In the chat, make sure you're commenting, smashing the like, subscribing, do all that stuff. Let's get Tony channel even more stronger than what it is already. So yeah, big up, guys, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks, man. See, guys, we have this guy here, a friend of mine too, Tommy Singh Osabia. Tommy Singh, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me, man. I've been so busy. With
yeah, man. How are you doing? Hope you're okay.
I'm a busy guy. Yeah, just be doing projects and all that, and just looking at Bible lessons. So all good, man.
Yeah, your audio is having problems. I think it might be your mic, so you might have to adjust that mic. See, yeah, let's go straight into the issues.
Tony, listen. Before we go, do you hear any disturbance from my side? Because I've got a fan on right now, and if it's causing any disturbance,
you're good.
Brilliant.
Yeah, you're good.
No, it's perfect. It's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay.
Brilliant. Thank you.
See, guys, we'll be going into the transfer dealing.
Guys.
No, you're still having a problem, Tommy Singh Osabia.
Maybe come out and come back in.
You have to remove the mic and come back in, re-log in into your system. We're here, no problem. See, I'll first start with Manny. Manny, Arsenal in the transfer window.
Always the Arsenal.
Edu is cooking.
Listen, Tony. Okay, keep
look
talking.
At your face,
I'll come in later.
Look at your face.
No, just keep talking.
Manny.
No.
Edu cooking. That's a cooking.
Remember this famous proverb: the proof of the cooking is in the eating. The reason why I say this is because, listen, obviously we had a budget of about 200 million quid, and we spent more than half of that to get Declan Rice. Now, I know the caveat: we're obviously not going to pay the full amount at that moment. It will sort of be a startup fee with a few add-ons here and there, and that will sort of take a few years to pay. And this is one of the reasons why I go back and forth on whether it's actually right to pay people sort of an advance, as it were, and then promise them payments as time goes by. Because here's the thing, I don't really know if that guarantee can necessarily be maintained. Of course, with a club like Arsenal, if they are able to stump up a heavy initial offer, then they should have more than enough dosh in their account to pay the remainder as time goes by. I get the feeling, though, that when it comes to Rice, and I've shared this opinion maybe on the group chat, I don't know if people have noticed it, and with a few other friends of mine, that given the length of the battle between Arsenal and City for Rice, where, we put up an offer, City put up an offer, and we ended up making an offer for Rice, which pretty much trumped City's offer. And then City decided, you know what, we're not going to have a back and forth. We're going to let Arsenal have him. And bear in mind, they've already made a central midfield purchase themselves. They've purchased another Chelsea cast-off, ironically, in the form of Kovacic, who, of course, he was a part of the team that won the Champions League under Thomas Tuchel and is still doing the business for Croatia. Although, of course, he was a part of that team which once again choked in the Nations League final, it has to be said. But he's still doing the business, and he can certainly lend quite a lot to the team. And he has been signed, of course, as a replacement for Ilkay Gundogan, who has now gone to the Blaugrana. Blaugrana, I don't know how it's pronounced. I do apologize to our Spanish friends and Barca fans if I pronounced it incorrectly.
Blaugrana.
Yes, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So I think City have probably come to the conclusion that, why should we have a back and forth over over an Englishman who might probably end up costing more money because of the so-called English tax. And they're already well stocked in central midfield. They could even play John Stones over there, for crying out loud. Rodri is also also cooking over there and was cooking during their Champions League run. So having Declan Rice would be a bit of a luxury. Although I suppose one reason why they wanted Rice is that he would have been an upgrade on the Leeds boy, Calvin Phillips, who literally has had a torrid time over in the blue half of Manchester. And they're going to want to offload him any which way, because I don't know if Guardiola will want to keep him on the books unless Phillips is willing to, shape up. I mean, he's better shape up, as Olivia Newton-John famously sang, because Guardiola needs him in a way. Maybe not as much, but back to Rice. I think City decided that it wasn't worth continuing the battle, and so they let us have him. And so we're going to be saddled with this huge fee that has to be paid for him. Don't get me wrong, we are getting a more than decent quality player. I've seen him play for England, and he is absolute quality. Whether he plays with Phillips or Henderson in the center of that midfield, he does lend that solidity that England has, really come to rely on. And of course, for West Ham, he was a colossus in their Europa League semi-final run this season before last, and of course, this recent season gone by, the Conference League win. What a way to end your West Ham career, by lifting a European trophy for your team. And I don't care what people say. It's not a Mickey Mouse European trophy. It is a European trophy. And they have had a better season than us because they won a trophy. So with Rice, I suppose, we have to accept it because we are getting him. I can't be too unhappy with that. And as for Havertz, well, a lot of people are saying, look, Arteta has a plan for him. Trust him. We need to trust Arteta more than ever. But you must understand, Tony, and I've seen you say this, given the way we capitulated and how Arteta's tactics and management have been, pretty much in the firing line, he has to do a lot of work, again, to really earn our trust. So I'm not about to, forgive or forget that collapse and say, I'm continuing, I'm backing the process. In fact, I haven't been backing the process for quite some time. Maybe he does see something in Havertz. He probably saw the same thing in Jorginho, and I will give some credit for that. Jorginho, in that half season he played for us, has shown that he has some capability. Even if his legs might not be what they used to be, his stamina might be decreased, he can still definitely do a job for us. It will be interesting to see what sort of role Havertz will play. I believe news is that he will play a number 8 role as an attacking midfielder, while Rice and Partey could potentially be our 2 defensive midfielders in the 4-2-3-1 system, which really worked for us. But then we had to make sure that for our lone striker, he has to start scoring goals. And I really am not comfortable with the prospect of playing Havertz as a false 9. So Gabriel Jesus and our other strikers on the books are going to have to really step up their game, especially with Florian Balogun making it clear that he wants to have guaranteed first-team football, effectively doing an Emi Martinez and say, if you're not going to value me despite my talent, I'm off. And good luck to him if that's the case. And now Jurrien Timber, I quite like him. The only problem is that he hasn't been used by Ronald Koeman for the Dutch national team, because if you remember the World Cup, Tony, he was a part of that Dutch team which really did quite well to reach the quarterfinals, where they lost to Emiliano Martinez's Argentina. Lionel Messi, of course, proving quite important in that game. And he was a part of that back three alongside Virgil van Dijk, the captain, and Nathan Ake of Manchester City. Of course, I know there's a Liverpool connection there, Baz. I will come to Van Dijk later on, a little bit later. And Timber, after missing the first game for Matthias de Ligt, ended up coming in for the second game and ended up being that third defender, while Denzel Dumfries and Daley Blind would run down the wings. So Timber played his part in that defense, which did quite well, reaching the quarterfinals. And I think in him, I wouldn't go so far to say that he's world class, but he definitely can do a job. And he's the type of defender who, almost like William Saliba, relies on good positional sense, good awareness, and he certainly will add a lot more strength to our defensive ranks, probably even more than another World Cupper in Jakub Kiwior, who did quite well for Poland, but hasn't really been able to truly convince for the Arsenal as of yet. But again, the jury will be out on him. I'm sure that Timber and Havertz will get some opportunities to play. They'll come off the bench and maybe get a few starts in the maybe in a Champions League game or two, or definitely in the Cups. Rice has been signed to play a big part in Arsenal's team, and I'm sure he'll do well. And now there's talk about possibly getting Aurélien Tchouameni, the French star. If we do sign him, that would be also another coup, but I'm not too sure. I'm not too positive if that will necessarily happen. And all we can do now is just watch and wait. If we do get Tchouameni, it has been a good window. But again, the thing about this whole transfer window, Tony, is that we have at least shown some initiative to start buying things from the outset and making sure that we go out and get our targets as and when we need them and just work immediately rather than dawdling and having our lunch money taken away from us. So I wouldn't go so far to say that Edu is cooking. I mean, I know he could possibly cook up a pretty mean Brazilian barbecue, and having tried it, I can tell you that it is more than decent. But to say that he's cooking in this window, look, the proof of his cooking will always be in the eating. We're going to have to see how these signings pan out, at least in the first half of the season, and then we can make a few judgments. And then, of course, it's the end of the season where everything counts. We're going to have to see where we are. But, hey, at least we're doing something. But let's not go overboard in giving him too much credit, yeah?
See, guys, that's the preamble. See, it's Mani Tangadurai, to get started here. See, Baz, I'll bring you in here, yeah? We're talking about Arsenal, yeah? Let's give this Arsenal first, because we'll also go to Liverpool. We'll also go to Chelsea.
Let's not talk about Liverpool.
Tell us about what you think. Good, but let's look into Arsenal first of all. Yeah,
absolutely.
Baz,
absolutely.
You just heard Manny. You just heard Manny's preamble, yeah? You've heard him talk about Declan Rice. You've heard him talk about Kai Havertz. That's what it's a little bit sketchy because of he doesn't have a good record in Chelsea Football Club in it. So when Mikel Arteta was going for this guy, every Arsenal fan was like, oh, what's going on here? And when we heard the price, we're like, oh, what's going on here? JPT, I know you too. You'll be very, very surprised with the price tag and how Arsenal was actually going for Kai Havertz, who's in your team. But you know what, Baz? Just take us through what you've seen in Arsenal's transfer window, yeah? Kai Havertz in the bag, Declan Rice in the bag, and not just in the bag, bullying Manchester City, bullying them off that transfer window, bullying them off Declan Rice to get Declan. I see you smiling, yeah, but it's the truth. We bullied Manchester City out of that transfer for Declan Rice, yeah? Guys, whether you agree or not, if it was Arsenal that just ran away from that signing, everyone would say Manchester City bullied us. But you know what? We bullied Manchester City out of that transfer, whether we like it or not. See, Baz, what do you have to say? Arsenal's transfer window right now.
Yeah, look, Manny, as always, is absolutely like. Sorry, I'm echoing. Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Yeah. yeah, like I said, Manny's like, absolutely spot on with everything he said there. There's not a lot I can actually say, to be fair. But generally speaking, I mean, look, obviously the biggest talk is going to be Declan Rice. Obviously 105, 100 plus 5 million add-ons and stuff like that with performance related stuff. It's a huge signing. It's a huge signing. And look, at the end of the day, it just shows if you've got to, whatever a player is and what he's worth, you're going to have to pay it just to get him. You know what I mean? If that's what they want, then that's what you're going to have to pay. A lot of people were talking about like, well, he's only got 1 year on his contract and stuff like that. No one would spend 50, 60 million quid. However, what people don't realize is there was a clause in that contract where it could be extended by West Ham to another year. So effectively it's a 2-year contract. So paying that 100 million plus to get him is just what you're going to have to pay, plus the British tax. That's a given in any British player, especially if someone who's got a bit of clout about them. You're going to be paying that extra tax. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Declan Rice, he is a brilliant player. He is a brilliant player. Let's not get that twisted. Do I think he's world class? Nope. Do I think he's got huge promise? Absolutely yes. And I think what he's going to bring you guys, besides his ball playing ways, is he's a captain as well. He's a captain. He's a leader, and at that age, you know what I mean. And I remember there was a lot of times where there was one. When you look at Shaka, is it? He's been your captain for a bit, and there was issues there. What you've got now is an English established international playing for your team. Would I have spent 105? Honestly, no, I probably wouldn't. But remember, I'm a Liverpool fan. You know what I mean? We don't spend that kind of big money. So that's just that. But I think certainly he's a brilliant addition to your team. And then obviously Havertz was a one that I was very puzzled with, to be fair, because I've seen him for Chelsea, and Chelsea, it was just like a stop-start. Some liked him, some didn't like him. He was playing in positions that that is not him. I still don't know what this guy's actual position is. I mean, I know Manny's saying that they'll probably use him as a number 8, but then you have a Odegaard there as well. I know he's a 10. There is creation, but when I look at him, I'm not sure what he actually offers or where he can play. But look, at the end of the day, you've got him in. He's a German international. He's proven. He's a big guy. Again, it's a good signing, but a puzzling one for me for when I look at Arsenal. And then obviously Timber coming in. There was links with Liverpool. I think one stage Liverpool were interested in him or whatever, but obviously nothing ever happened about that. But the point is, you guys you're just building. You're bringing in fresh players for your team, and I'm saying this on my channel and with my community. Every time you've gone through a season, whether you've been successful or not, you always improve on what you have. And I think Arsenal certainly have improved or improving on their starting 11. My only concern is, obviously, I'm not from the Arsenal community, but I've got people who do chat. I'm hearing you guys might be losing Partey and Shaka. Yeah. So my thing for you, Gwyneth, yeah. So I'm just looking at that and thinking, are you guys actually building a team or you're building a squad? Because certainly you guys have brought some brilliant players in, but you're going to need bodies as well, because you're going to be playing Champions League now. You know what I mean? You're going to be playing Premier League as well. You're going to want one step further. So you're going to have a squad. And I know all about this because obviously previously we were in that situation with Manchester City.
In other words, we have the bigger fish to fry, right?
I'm not going to say anything about it. I think the whole country knows of what certain other people have said and what the memes of this world. But I will say this, Tony. I love you to bits. It's always a pleasure being on your show. But you, bruvs, you're a crafty one, innit? About bullying Man City. Let's not get that twisted, yeah? Man City, if they wanted him, they would have bought him. They would have bought him, bro. But you know what? There you go.
No, but we're still in the transfer window. If Manchester City want him, why don't they go get him? The showed ambition in going to get him.
But this is my point.
£90 million for him.
Tony,
they placed a million bid for him.
Right, but let me tell you something, Tony. Right, I agree. Listen, look, you bought him for 100 million, or it's about to be done. The deal, yeah. But if you really want somebody, yeah, you will get them, no matter what. You're trying to tell me they can't put 120 million pound up front to go and get this guy. They didn't want him, and what I think they did was dark art.
They paid 100 million for Grealish, for crying out loud.
They played dark arts because when you think about it, up the fee, Arsenal.
Just give it to Arsenal. It will harm you, man. Just give it to Arsenal.
But hold up.
And Arsenal beat them in that game. So
yeah, but Tony, listen. I've already said, you know what, brilliant signing, everything. He's going to be perfect. Arsenal. I've said all of that. You know what I mean? And yes, there's advantages. Obviously, he's a London boy. He wants to stay in London and stuff like that. There are some advantages to it. He chose Arsenal. But let's be real. All right, let's be real. I don't think you bullied them. I think you showed power because you were able to put up 100 million. Liverpool can't put up 100 million right about now. So you've got the power, definitely. However, you've got to sometimes maybe look and think, did Man City really want him? Because if they did want him, yeah, because Gundogan's gone, you know what I mean? They bought Kovacic, I get that and stuff like that. But Bernardo Silva might be leaving as well. So they got to find someone for him as well. Maybe they didn't rate him that highly. So, but it's, I'm just looking at it and think, well, you know what? They've obviously driven the money up because, to be honest with you, Jack, Declan Rice is not worth 100 million. No one is, like I said, it's just the money that you have to put up. But sometimes, when you do eBays, like, for example, we've all done it on eBay. You want something, someone doesn't want you to get it, or they'll get a friend of theirs to up the bid. And in the end, you get more money for what it is. I don't know. So maybe they've done something like that. Maybe there was a call between the two managers, Pep Guardiola, Arteta was saying, look, the board are not going to spend that money. You need to bid, so we get him or something. I don't know. There's so many conspiracy theories. But the point is, I'll land it now, is you've got a brilliant player. And if you want to look at it that way, that you've got him over Man City, then so be it. He's your player. Well, he's going to be your player when medicals and stuff have been done. And good luck. I just hope you guys don't have luck when you play us. But besides that, he's a good addition. And well done. And breathe.
See, yeah, I do agree with you. But also, we have to hear from JPT. JPT, I'll bring you into the fray, yeah? See, Kai Havertz from your team, yeah? Arsenal coming into your team and saying, you know what, yeah, we want Kai Havertz. And, we're going to give you 80% of what you paid for this guy. And Chelsea Football Club said, hey, okay, all right, good. We give you to him. See, does Kai Havertz still got the minerals in him? Yeah, because you Chelsea fans keep talking about the minerals. Does this guy still have the minerals in him? And when you see the whole Arsenal shenanigans going on, Declan Rice coming in, Timber also coming in, does that show you how ambitious Arsenal is in any way? In any way, what does that show you?
Shows that if Arteta wants a player, he's trying to get Edu to get him. Now, the one thing is that I think you guys overpaid for Kai. Not even just for last season. No one in Chelsea played good last season. Let's just keep it real. But I'm looking at his stats from the last 2 seasons, and altogether, 15 goals, 4 assists. Not what I would call 60. What would you guys pay for? 63 million for him after add-ons. It's a bit risky, but if Arteta was trying to get everything to get the player, he must have an idea for him. Whether that might come back to bite him in the ass, we're gonna see. But I don't know where he would fit in the 11. You guys had a solid 11, even with Xhaka leaving. You have a replacement now. You might even get Lavia too, which I think will be, if that gets signed and done with everything that's being considered, I would say Arsenal had an A+ transfer window, despite which someone can consider overspending. But what team isn't, at least in the big 6, is not overspending for players? I mean, 105 million for Rice. it's the name of the game, and I applaud Arsenal to do so. But for Kai, I think you probably would have had a better chance to go to the likes of Madison, for 40 mil to Spurs, which, by the way, great signing for them. But I don't know where he would fit other than he's just going to be a squad player, like playing, back up to Odegaard, back up to Saka, what does that mean for Reece Nelson? Maybe bringing in a false 9 option for Arteta if that's needed for some games. Other than that, I don't think he would fit as a false 9. He didn't do that as well, even though he's going to have proper support on the wings with Martinelli and Saka. We will see. But 65 mil, he does have that pressure, and when it's gonna be that London derby is gonna be brutal for him.
But clearly, is that a ripoff? Clearly, is it a ripoff? The Chelsea Football Club ripped Arsenal off.
I mean, to say that we bought him for what, 72 million,
something like that. Yeah, so about 72, 75.
So we only lost 7 mil,
of course.
And we only lost 7 mil from selling him. I do think you guys overpaid for him, but I'm not gonna say he's gonna play just as bad as he did at Chelsea. He's gonna play better than he did at Chelsea for sure, but I don't think we're gonna see the Leverkusen Kai Havertz that everyone is thinking. Or I can't believe we're calling this we're gonna have a Dennis Bergkamp. I don't know what y'all are smoking up in North London, but I need some, and I need to go visit right away. But you know what? It's the name of the game, And also, I want to address this too. Baz is right. That's why I kept saying fake news. These guys didn't bully. Baz had actually a really good example of the have your friend. Just put in a bid right now. Just get it going. That's what it is. I mean, City, it's a bidding war, but you can't just fire one shot and say you know what, I give up now. That's it. That's not a bidding war. Who takes one shot and just says, you know what, it was good while it lasted. And also a bid that matched your offer, just formatted a little differently when they could have offered that same amount.
It's a very expensive shot. It's a very expensive shot. That was £90 million.
But it wasn't more expensive what you offered, though.
£90 million was what was put up by Manchester City. So it's not a simple shot. It was a carefully targeted one. If he came in at that price, or if Arsenal dropped the ball and say, hey, you know what, we're not going up to 90 million. Man City will get him, and it will be yet another story again. Arsenal losing one of the biggest targets in the transfer window to Manchester City. The news has been going on and on and on. It's only right that Arsenal gets it correct at this time. So 90 million
they did get it right.
Is in child's play when a rival team is putting that cash up to bid for a player. It's a bidding war.
It's also not a serious offer. Sorry, go ahead. But what I was saying is that it's not a serious offer if you're just matching your opposition's offer. What was it, 75 mil plus 15, while they offered 80 plus 10? It didn't make sense. If they really wanted him, they could have gone for 95 at least, or kept it at 90 and offered Calvin Phillips to help fill that void in West Ham, and they didn't. And they don't need Calvin Phillips. They got COVID, and also, why would they go for Kovacic? They got him for 30, 35 mil. I mean, it just seems like there wasn't really need, because it was just, what if City went for Rice, and because they can't afford it right now. City is still that big shark in this EPL pool. They're the ones with the targets on their backs, and if Pep and City want a player, they will go get him. They're not gonna. There is no bidding war for them. They're just saying, what do you want? We'll pay it. We'll throw an extra 20 mil as a tip. Well, it is what it is with them. But that's why, but I'm not gonna let that take away from what Arsenal did or what they're currently doing, and they're having a fantastic window. Overspending, yes, but who isn't? Like I said, and I guess that's just my rant for this.
Okay, so wait. I want to get this correctly. So Kai Havertz, you don't respect the player, right? Just say as it is. Do you respect Kai Havertz as a player?
As a player, I think he could play better for the price that he was offered for both Chelsea and Arsenal. But I mean, I don't like disrespect or hate the player. I do think that he does have an online following that is toxic and also very how can I say this? We'll follow and support blindly, and that goes with Mason Mount as well. That's the thing. But other than that,
Like a
I
cult
don't
following,
think
right?
Hmm?
Like a cult following, right?
a cult following led from like a
Like a
little bit
cult
of
following, right?
well, yeah, because led by someone who is a bit crazy and allegedly, but it's other than that, I don't think the player is being disrespected. I don't think the player is horrible. But I would say that I do think he was overpriced. That's for sure. Whether or not I think he is good or bad,
Overpriced
or his
and
or
overbought. Me too. I do think
potential.
so.
I mean,
I do think
Tony,
so.
if you like, if
Yeah,
do you see Kai as a starter? Do you see him as a starter?
I have my doubts with that, but again, I have my doubts with that. But again, it comes with a caveat because when you in the transfer market and you're bringing in a player for about 65 million pounds, now see, not 65 million euros, 65 million pounds, yeah, that's huge, that's big. You cannot go to your rivals, buy a rival player for 65 million pounds and come and put him on the bench. It has to be a starter. So, in other words, Mikel Arteta is not seeing Kai Havertz as a bencher. Is genuinely seeing him as a player who would play in the starting 11 because you can't drop 65 million pounds for someone who would come and sit on the bench or start from the bench. It has to be a marquee signing, and a marquee signing always starts or always feature in your first 11, at least until you know he's not playing well, or he doesn't fit into your program, or he doesn't fit into your phase or project, like they call it these days anyway. Then why pay 65 million pounds for someone that would just come from the bench? So that's my doubt. I think he has a crazy idea of how he wants to fit in Kai Havertz into that team, into that first 11. I don't know. Like Baz said, he still doesn't understand where this guy plays. Even Manny, and trust me, guys, Manny is well scoped in these ideas, yeah. Even Manny has his own doubts on where this guy is going to play for Arsenal. We've had discussions both in our private Instagram chats and stuff like that. So there's a big problem where this guy is going to play next season. I don't know. Does he want to use him as a midfielder, that 8 position? Does he want to use him as a winger? Does he want to play him as a central striker? All these questions Mikel Arteta has to answer. But the good thing is that he's putting 65 million pounds on this guy. He has to deal with the fallout from this decision, and that's what I think. Tomisio Sabia, are you there with us?
Yeah.
Tomisio, are you there with us?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, Tomisio, I think your stuff is still shaking, but let's see if you can still manage it. See, Tomisio, Edu, they're ramping up these transfers, yeah? Timber, Kai Havertz, and Declan Rice bullying Manchester City. I know our rivals don't like it when I say, that we bullied Manchester City out of that transfer, but definitely we bullied them out of it. So
Really funny. I'll let you have. I'll let you have that. I'll let you have that.
So,
I'll let you have it.
yeah, what do you think, when you hear about all these signings? Yeah, when you hear about all these things, yeah, Mikel Arteta taking his spending record for Arsenal nearly up to that 700 million mark, almost a billion, almost 300 million pounds to a billion pounds spent by Mikel Arteta. See, Tomisio Sabia, is there anything you can tell us about these transfers you're hearing? Does it ring any bells? Does it give you tickles and fantasies? Anyway?
You know the Declan Rice one, because Man City were matching us for like the third time, like 90 million, and then they were like matching it. I'm thinking, are we Declan Rice? I'm thinking, 90 million as well. Then obviously they got them when we were playing like 105 million for him. They dropped out of the bid because we were paying 105 million for Declan Rice. Because I said 105 million, is it worth it? Is it worth it buying him? It's a lot of money though. because I remember Man City Grealish for $100 million last season. Grealish did like put up these performances, but Declan Rice, like I think he's gonna like put up these performances. Even 105 million is, I think it is a lot of money, though. I think is it worth it for me? But anyway, happy with him. It's a good signing because he's what we need. And I'm happy, and he's a quality player. Good ball, can pick up a pass. He can hit games. He doesn't really lose the ball that much. But yeah, Declan Rice is a fantastic signing. And I do not rate him. I didn't even know we got him. For me, it's a desperate signing. I don't even know what we can get Havertz. Really, we're trying to chase Man City for title. You're buying Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz. But yeah, that's a dreadful signing for me. And Timber's in as well, because Timber, like, he can play centre back, he can play right back. Because I watch Dutch football as well, like, and he's been quality for Ajax as well, you know. Even when Ajax had Ten Hag, he played so well under Ten Hag. I mean, were like linked with him last year, and they didn't even get him in it. So I'm just happy. These are good signings apart from Kai Havertz. It's a desperate signing for me. But Timber and Rice are good signings, but Kai Havertz not for me. I'm sick of getting Chelsea's left. We do this every single time, getting the leftovers. But if Arteta can't get the best out of him, Arteta should be sacked. Kai Havertz, and you should be sacked, because how can you come on and you don't know how to get the best out of? Like, come on. But yeah, I'm happy with Declan Rice and Timber, but Kai Havertz, not my cup.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with
sure.
Thomas
Sure,
completely,
definitely.
because
Thomas, you have to fix your audio.
Thomason,
Manny, you were saying something.
Yeah, listen, what Thomason has just said there is absolutely perfect, because let's flash back to when Unai Emery was manager of Arsenal, and he was saddled with a 72 million transfer of Nicola Pepe. Bear in mind that Emery didn't want Pepe. He wanted Wilfried Zaha from Crystal Palace. But Pepe was brought in and couldn't really quite settle under Emery in some respects, although maybe he had some potential. Under Arteta, he was starting to cook, but I think injuries and other circumstances meant that he couldn't play too many more games. I think most Gooners will tell you that Pepe's time at Arsenal was a case of potential eventually wasted, because, of course, since then he went on loan to France. I think he has returned to Arsenal, but it will remain to be seen what his role will be. I do believe that by the time this window is over, he will be gone. And the difference between Pepe and Havertz is that Emery didn't really want Pepe. He certainly didn't think that 72 million quid was money well spent. But Havertz was wanted by Arteta because Arteta believed in him. And so this Havertz transfer, if it doesn't work out, just like the Willian transfer spectacularly bombing, albeit for much less money, at least that was a consolation, some consolation. This could very well be the transfer that decides Mikel Arteta's fate, because you buy him, you pay that much money for him. Chelsea were expecting, I think JPT might agree with me on this, Chelsea were expecting, if they wanted to get rid of Havertz, to make a loss on him to the tune of at least 15 or 20 million quid, I would imagine. And the fact that they only lost 7 million quid, I mean, they're probably not laughing all the way to the bank. And Iconoclast, thank you for that comment. I will come to you. They're not really laughing all the way to the bank because, of course, you've got financial fair play and all of that rubbish. But still, you know, the money that they've managed to earn on that transfer is not small potatoes by any means. By at least getting rid of several players, they can at least bring some more players in and trim the squad down so that Pochettino can have a squad to work with. So we spent that much money on Havertz. He'd better really come good now, because there are no real second chances. Of course, you take a look at Jackie Grealish, who was purchased by City for about 100 million quid and took some time to settle in. But once he found his niche in that team, he started to cook. And so City were willing to pay that much money for Grealish, but not for Declan Rice. I think that pretty much tells it all. And if you can go back to Iconoclast's comment, please, Tony, because he asked a valid question there about the possibility of Thomas Partey being sold. Yeah, rumors are saying that Partey will be moved on. Why aren't we adding Rice to what we already have and sell players who aren't improving the squad? Wasn't Wenger accused of doing the same thing? If Thomas Partey is to be moved on, it would perhaps be disappointing. Because obviously, the second half of last season aside, he has certainly looked like the glue that would hold the team together, only for injuries and other issues to sort of wreak havoc with, his time at the Arsenal. I don't want to run the risk of losing both Xhaka and Partey. If I had to choose one to leave, I would definitely say that Xhaka would go. And you're absolutely right in saying that certain players who aren't improving the squad do have to be sold, and yet we just don't seem to see that happening. Eddie Nketiah, for one, is still at the squad. There is no way that I see him contributing. Maybe he'll be given one final season and then told, bye-bye, Eddie, it was nice knowing you. I don't know. Maybe we're going to see that ruthlessness at the end of next season if we don't meet our targets. But at the end of next season, if we don't meet any kind of targets, then, one big change has to happen. And all we can do is hope and pray that it does happen. But, yeah, so this is basically the transfer window in a nutshell. I'm sorry, Tony, but we didn't far from bullying City into getting Declan Rice. City actually put one over on us. They allowed us to fall over ourselves by being willing to spend more than half of our transfer budget just to get him in. And now that we've got him in, Rice has that target on his head. He has to start, like Havertz, has to start cooking immediately, because the more money you spend on players, the greater the pressure on them to start cooking. Pepe felt that pressure. He had some talent. He did well in a few games, but for the people who were balking at the money spent for him, it's just not good enough. Camavinga signing a new contract with Real Madrid with a release clause of €1 billion. Camavinga's not going anywhere. I don't even know why that would be news. Ancelotti and the board see him as crucial to their plans going forward. So Real Madrid will do well to keep him, and yes, that is the way it will be. So our transfer window, I don't really want to go so.
1 billion is his.
Yeah, and of course, Saka also had a huge release clause. Saka also had a release clause in his contract, not quite as high as $1 billion, but still, you can imagine that release clause being put in there. And just think about it. But look, in a nutshell, that is the Arsenal transfer window, I would say. And so most of these signings, since fortunes have been paid for them, they're going to have to really, really, really hit the ground running. And yet we just don't know what sort of roles they're going to play. Rice will be a guaranteed starter. I don't know what Havertz is going to do. I don't know if Timber is going to walk into the team ahead of William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes, unless Arteta decides to do another tactical revolution and maybe play a back three with 2 wing backs. I don't know. But there's still a lot of business to be dealt with, a lot of players' futures that have to be resolved. We hear that Tierney might be persuaded to stay. Why he'd stay, I don't know. There's still some talk of Newcastle getting him. So there's still many a slip between the cup and the lip, and we just won't know what's going to happen until this window slams shut once and for all.
Once and for all. Thank you, Manny. See, yeah, let's touch into other transfers that's been going on, because, of course, it's the Premiership Watch here, and Manny has just summarized Arsenal's transfer window. And you know what? Yeah, if Arsenal can be able to get all these players, I think that'll be a decent window for me. Even if I would still like to get a top-notch striker into the team, I would still like to see a backup goalkeeper, because I'm not comfortable with the one we have right now. And maybe a winger to give Bukayo Saka a kind of like, that competition, that I feel that Bukayo doesn't really have right now in the team. Manny, I saw you shaking your head there about the goalkeeper, Aaron Ramsdale. I felt that last season, yeah. Aaron Ramsdale, was on the back end of a lot of horror movement. Yeah, it cost us some goals. It cost us some games. The Southampton game, I still have that one in my head. Even the game against Brighton, yeah, it cost us some certain games. Even the game against Liverpool, there were some gaffes that this guy had. he a good goalkeeper? Yeah, I do like him. But again, if you're to go to the biggest competitions, yeah, you have to have at least a backup goalkeeper that that will at least give him a little bit of a of a nudge. Yeah, give him a little bit of competition out there, and I don't see it in Turner. I'm sorry, Turner is American goalie number one, but I don't see him as a viable number two. Just look at Man City. Look at their number two goalkeeper.
I'm going to
When you need
disagree.
him,
I'm going to
yeah.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree. I mean, like you're giving, huh?
I think Turner's a good keeper.
He is a good keeper, Tommy. Absolutely right. And
Yeah,
you
no,
don't get
I'm
to-
listening. I'm listening to you. Before
Yeah,
I go
and
to
listen,
Baz,
you don't get to be
At
the
the end of
number
day,
one.
we didn't get FA Cup and League Cup to get as well. Go on, man. Go on.
yeah, money.
Yeah. So here's the thing: you don't get to be
Yeah,
the
money,
first
money.
choice
You're the
goalkeeper
one
for your.
on.
Yeah. You don't get to be the first choice goalkeeper for your country and do as well as you do in the World Cup and also the CONCACAF Nations League. And now, of course, being in the Gold Cup now by being a pretty dodgy keeper. Bear in mind that despite his status as Arsenal's number two, he is very much America's number one, which did surprise me in many ways because I didn't think that he had enough first-team action to justify that call. But obviously, Greg Berhalter disagreed and thought otherwise, and he's obviously done well. Huge shout out, huge name drop over here. The US goalkeeping coach is none other than the former Jamaican international Ryan Thompson, who actually went to the same university in Florida as I did, the University of Tampa. Go Spartans, stand as one. Any UT graduates out there, shout out to all of you. And obviously Thompson,
there, yeah.
obviously
Golden Knights.
Not the Golden Knights. I mean,
No,
where we are, it's the Tampa Bay Lightning. Go Bolts! But anyway, so Thompson will be working closely with Turner and the other keepers, and I think he can definitely tell you just how good a goalkeeper Turner is. And the reason why I actually rate Turner is because I take a look at Aaron Ramsdale. It's not necessarily that I despise the fella, okay? I mean, I'm sure maybe at heart he's a good lad. The only problem is he doesn't strike me as being that type of person who is really serious about improving his craft and actually, making sure that he improves his own standards and raises his own standards and the team standards in question. I'm reminded of that scene in the All for Nothing documentary where apparently he was seething at conceding a goal and was berating Gabriel Magalhaes for being at fault for that because it cost him a clean sheet. And everyone was saying, oh, what an elite mindset this boy has. He's such a perfectionist. He'll go on to be a great. And then how did he do against Sporting Lisbon? Couldn't save a single penalty and got lobbed all the way from the halfway line for crying out loud. So in addition, having just joined the club, that guy doesn't have anywhere near the level of clout to, start mouthing off his teammates just because they make a mistake. You're supposed to do your bit and be happy with the bit that you've done. You can be disappointed at not getting a clean sheet, but then clean sheets are not the be-all and end-all, as Emi Martinez will tell you. It's how the team does that counts at the end of the day. And with him, basically, another reason why is because technically he has so many imperfections, leaving huge gaps between his legs, which will leave him liable to have balls scored between his legs. Because that gap is so big, he's also not stable enough to stand upright and beat shots away, as was shown when he conceded that equaliser from Jared Bowen at West Ham. And also, when it comes to corners, he is has been absolutely found wanting. He can't catch a corner to save his life. He barely punches well. And we've seen that, when it comes to people can attack him on corners because he's not the tallest. And I think the sight of him doing this sort of Bhangra-style dance has become a little bit of a meme right now. And if you look on Twitter, if you search Ramsdale Bhangra, you can see that being played to the tune of some Punjabi dance number. And it's absolutely ridiculous. But with Turner, one thing I love about him is that when it comes to, judging corners and high balls, he is almost flawless. He has a good record of being able to catch balls. And given that maybe like you and others, I grew up watching David Seaman dominating on crosses and very rarely, if ever, flapping on occasions. To see Ramsdale doing that doesn't fill me with any sort of confidence at all. What happened against Sporting Lisbon in the first leg was a little bit unfortunate for Turner, but we all saw that by bringing Ramsdale back in, you know, the fact that he went walkabout for that goal and couldn't even save a penalty, while Turner's definitely saved more than a few. I mean, it just goes to show that Turner will be expected to push Ramsdale for this season. So I'm going to say right now, and I hope JPT will agree with me as a US fan, Turner needs to be given a little bit more respect, and he definitely needs to be given the chance. So I'm not about to go into the market for another goalkeeper just yet. I agree that Carl Hayne might not necessarily be the answer to our problems, just like Rune Runarsson definitely wasn't, and Matt Ryan should have been given more chances. But when it comes to goalkeepers, Arteta doesn't have the ability to recognize talent. How else do you explain his decision to sell the now best goalkeeper in the world for about 17 million quid and see him achieve great things with Argentina and be an absolute colossus for Aston Villa? So, in a nutshell, I think Matt Turner deserves respect. He deserves a chance to, push him. But Ramsdale is now also going to have to up his game. And if he starts making some poor errors, I'm going to beat the drum for Matt Turner until my hand is sore. And JBT, I'm not too sure that you can offer a perspective on this, but I agree, I hope you can understand where I'm coming from.
Absolutely.
I agree.
JPT, do you want to say anything to that before we go to Baz? Is there anything you want to say? Because, of course, it's American. Turner is American, of course. So do you have any ideas to that? To add to what?
I mean, he's not a bad goalkeeper.
Said about him?
Yeah, he's not a bad goalkeeper. I mean, I know, he is a starting U.S. goalkeeper, even though being number 2 for Arsenal. But I mean, he's got good competition there. He's beating out the likes of Sean Johnson, Slonina from Chelsea. It is good competition, and I do trust him whenever he's playing for the U.S. He does. Manny made a good point where when it comes to set pieces, especially or even corner kicks, he's solid. You don't have to worry about that. That it probably bounces off what Ramsdale lacks. And if we're just going to hold him to what happened versus Sporting, I mean, let's just be honest that Arsenal didn't play out their best 11 until the leg 2 versus Sporting. And when you have Kiwar in as one of your center back pairings with Saliba, and I think he just recently came into the squad, if I remember correctly. It can be a little. What is it? He would have been more confident having the Gabriel and Saliba pairing instead. But yeah, I do think there is a solid goalkeeper there. I wouldn't put down Ramsdale. I mean, yes, he had a bad game versus Southampton. But you have a solid goalkeeper for a while. I mean, if you were to upgrade, who is in the market also, at this point, can Arsenal afford a goalkeeper who is most likely going to cost at least 50 to 60 million minimum? I mean, you're going to get the likes of Costa. You're going to have to. I mean, I don't know who's another goalkeeper that you would prefer Ramsdale that is going to cost less than that.
Yeah. Baz, please, I'll go straight to you. Yeah, of course, transfer window. Dominic Szoboszlai. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but he's Hungarian. I heard you guys have talks with him for RB Leipzig. What's going on with that signing? And it looks like Liverpool is trying to revamp that midfield. What do you have to say? Is FSG doing quite enough, you guys, before the transfer window shut open? You guys brought in McAllister from Brighton, spending that kind of money, £35 million. In the market these days, not such a big amount.
What a steal, by the way!
Steal, World Cup winner.
Oh, yeah. Look at look at Tony's face. Man spent 105 million quid, yeah, and he's saying, "Oh yeah, you little 35
loose money players for 105 million pounds, my brother." That should tell you something. We're going to
man's
Chelsea.
Got his shades on, he's sitting on a beach right now, isn't he?
Yeah. Just like Manny said, yeah, that was a big steal. Yeah, 35 million pounds for McAllister. I do rate him, but you know what? Yeah, Liverpool is now going further to this Dominic guy from RB Leipzig. I also heard that you guys are also trying to do a kind of deal to kind of like push Fabio Carvalho out of the football club down to RB Leipzig. So there's a kind of like talks going on that's kind of like delaying everything. What do you have to say about this signings we're hearing that Liverpool is trying to to bring in. And again, do you think Liverpool should have looked into this Declan Rice issue? Do you think you should have, thrown your heart into it in any way?
Nah. Look, at the end of the day, all right. So let's the FSG thing. I'm not gonna answer too much about that, because you know what, when the transfer window ends, we will see what we've got and if we need any more. Having said that, so the Carvalho thing is Carvalho's already signed on loan for RP Leipzig. That was yesterday, I think. The thing had been done. Szoboszlai, the guy's name is Dominik Szoboszlai, Hungarian, 22-year-old attacking midfielder that can play as a 10, 8, and even where Salah plays on the right-hand side. He's a Hungarian captain at 22, which is brilliant. He's a brilliant player. For those that haven't seen it, obviously go and check him out if you're not sure, but he's a very promising player. 60 million, yeah. I mean, there's a release clause of 60 million pounds, 70 million euros, something like that. So I think Liverpool had an issue. Yeah, big up Early Doors. Thank you for subscribing to LVFC, man. Appreciate it, bro. But yeah, apparently it was supposed to end by midnight tonight. This release clause. So Liverpool have decided to pay for it. I don't know if there was anything in the Carvalho going over there on loan for the season, but he's a brilliant player and he's definitely something that Liverpool need for starters. So that is the link at the moment. But you know, guys, you know what I'm like. Seeing is believing. Obviously, it's just blown off as soon as I've literally come on stream with you guys. So I'm gonna have to do my little researches. Make sure it's all official, because I don't speculate on players. But from what I see, it looks like, there is some kind of agreement in terms of his release clause being met. In terms of McAllister, bro, you know what? McAllister at £35 million. It's definitely a steal. And look, we don't play, as people know, we don't. Yeah, we don't go and throw money around. Liverpool have not been like that for the longest time. Okay, let's not get it twisted. We have broken transfer records here and there, the Van Dijks, stuff like that. We have broken transfer records initially, so we spend the money when we need to and when we have to. And this is a good midfielder in McAllister. He'll offer us what we need. And again, like I said, World Cup winner, £35 million. It's an absolute bargain. So let's just see how he fits in, and if we bring in any more players, because it's a lot of Liverpool fans are thinking it's a very slow start in terms of transfers and stuff like that. We're seeing the likes of Arsenal, wrapping up 3-4 players, good quality players. Obviously, Chelsea are doing their thing in the sense of they're getting rid of the dead wood or players that are no longer required.
The dead wood,
I know they've just signed Jackson on a death row contract that I've put over there in the chat. 8 years. That's, I don't know, but it's, he's another good player as well. So I'm very happy with what's going on at this moment with this particular. I'm just still going to say he's a rumor until I actually see anything concrete. But Szoboszlai, brilliant player. I just hope we can get another midfielder in. It'd be nice if we can get a Thuram in, or I don't think Kone now, because I think he's injured. Maybe a defender, and you know what? We can put some pressure.
Okay, not fight for the title next season. Not fight.
No.
With McAllister, with Dominic in, do you think you're going to fight for the title?
No.
No title fight
not.
next season.
No title fight. We need to get back into top 4. We just need to. Yeah.
Good.
Guys, can I ask you something?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Well, yeah. Tommy.
Wait. I don't. You got. Well,
Tommy, your connection is not good. Tommy, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Tommy, man. Your connection. Guys, am I speaking your mind?
Yeah, Tony, to be fair, I can barely understand what you're saying. You're cutting in and out.
Or it's delayed.
Yeah, exactly. It's twitching.
I don't know what's wrong with my laptop.
It's twitching. do go in and come back again, Thomason. JPT, I'll go to you, yeah, straight up. See, you're going for Cancelo. You're going for Cancelo. You're also going for Caicedo. See, what do you have now? Do you like the trajectory to which your club is going in terms of transfers? I know you guys are doing a lot of clearing out, cleaning out the closet, but do you think you guys have done enough bringing players in as much as you've let players go? Kovacic is out to Man City. Kai Havertz is out to Arsenal Football Club. That's two big time players I'm talking of in your team, the big players.
Kante's gone as well.
Kante's
who
one I
other
missed.
person has
Kante.
has gone?
Koulibaly's gone,
He saw that
Mendy's
Saudi
gone.
Arabian money. Exactly. Mendy's gone.
Yep.
All these guys gone out of the football club, and we've not seen any reinforcement. What does this do for your football club? Do you think your club can challenge for the title next season? What's up? What do you have to tell us?
Well, I'm surprised about the. Did you say Cancelo, like Joao Cancelo, Bayern Munich? Is Chelsea's interested in?
Yeah. He's in your radar right now, Cancelo.
I didn't hear anything about
He's in your
any of
radar
those
right now.
rumors, but I hope we do not get him based on what happened between him and Pep. And also just show Bayern, he had him for like half a season and they already want to get rid of him. Like, I don't think this is a player that should be touched at this moment. But as far as for all the players that left to Saudi Arabia, thank you, Habibis. Like it's beautiful. Just got the deadwood out and we got a good amount of money. People can cry about if this is unfair. This has to be illegal. No. Let's cut that right now because this is exactly what the Premier League has been doing for years and years and years, and no one complains about it. By the way, anyone who's complaining, y'all racist. No, I'm just playing. But it is surprising to see all these players leaving in one quick succession, and it's good. I just wish we had Hakimi's knee make it past to Saudi Arabia as well. Now we're stuck with him, and we'll see what we're going to do with it. But I do like the project.
It's not Hakimi, it's Ziyech, isn't it?
Hakim Ziyech.
Sorry, Hakim. I said Hakim. My fault.
I think he's gone.
No, he failed his medical.
But Ziyech is gone, right?
He failed his medical.
He's left the football club.
He's still part of Chelsea because he failed his medical at Saudi Arabia. Something's wrong with his knee. A good call, Manny. I didn't even realize I said Hakim. I meant Hakim Ziyech. Either way, the Habibi has failed us, and now we're stuck with. We're gonna see what we can do. But yep, and it looks like PSG don't want him at this point since he's failed his medical. So we're gonna see what that means. If we keep him, and he wants to play for Poch, I think this is a blessing because we are so thin at the right wing spot. If Noni Madueke gets hurt, I don't know who's going to be playing there, and I don't want Nkunku having to play out of position. We already had this misery with playing players out of position with the injury crisis we had last season, and even from the season before that. Now with the two, the Minerals boys, I addressed it with Kai. Yeah. I think we got them a good deal. It's if you want to look at it as a win-win, fine. But we got our money back. We can invest that into Caicedo, which this is definitely what we need to focus on. This is the summer of midfield rebuild for so many teams, and I wanted to address this with Baz because the fact that FSG managed to get World Cup winner Brian's like one of the best players for half the price what many thought that they were going to ask for, which I think they were asking for 80 mil, 70 mil for McAllister. To get him for 35 is, oh my God, I don't know what they do, but it's probably under the school of Todd Bowling negotiations minus the 10-year program that they probably have running over there. But
the death row contract.
It was all through contract. I mean, for Nico Jackson, if we're gonna, because Baz did mention this before too, with Nico Jackson, 8-year deal. finally the loophole is closed where these deals are no longer going to be passing 5 years, but
Yeah.
8 years for 22-year-old Nico Jackson, 12 goals, 4 assists in 26 La Liga games. I'm not confident that this is going to be our main number 9, but it is a good build into the depth up top. I don't know if Vlahovic is still in the cards. Osimhen is just anyone is connected to Osimhen, but I don't think we're going to spend that type of money for him. And I want to see Vlahovic just because this is for Pod from what he stated, and hopefully we get something like that. But right now, I do like where we're going. We're getting out a lot of the players that don't want to be here or just we know not going to need their service. I'm not sad about Havertz leaving. I'm not sad about Mount leaving. Those players are causing a divide in the club and in the fan base. Let that be Manchester United's problem. Let that be some of Arsenal's problem. They can have the minerals, Brev. That guy can, he's going to change the channel already. I already know it. And then the one spot I'm concerned too is the goalkeeper position, because if Kepa is going to be our number 1, I'm nervous. Even I don't care what's in our defense. I don't care what the skeleton or the core
even Mendy's gone. When JPT's finished, I'd like to get into the Chelsea thing, Tony. But yeah.
But I don't know if we're going to bring Solina as our number 2 or if we're looking for Costa. But Kepa as our number 1 is kind of concerning. Everything else, we've been doing great. Sales have been going good. And hopefully we can get Caicedo done in no time. And, hopefully don't get Cancelo. We already got Malo Gusto playing on the right. If Joel's going to try to play on the left, I'd rather leave that with Joel and a teenager in Lewis Hall to cover that spot. Cucurella, I mean, everyone wants him to take him at this point. But I'm done trusting and believing in that guy. But go ahead, Baz.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say is, you know what? I don't think Chelsea will challenge this season. However, however, what I'm liking for them, and obviously for their fans, is you think about the two managers that had come in. The managers that had come in, look, they had it was like a kid in Christmas. You know what I mean? There's so many quality players. In their names, all right? They were all quality players. There's so much toys to play with. You don't know what to play with. And now what they've done is they've got in a good manager. Granted, he hasn't won anything in the Premier League, all right? Grant that. But he's a good manager in the sense of he can give them identity. Because right now, Chelsea, over the last how many years, have had no identity. Apart from when Thomas Tuchel was there, he got them, playing. And then obviously we know what had happened with him. But what they're doing is they're getting rid of what JPT was saying, that that the Saudi Arabians they're coming in and nicking all these players and stuff like that. When you've got deadwood and sometimes people can't get rid of deadwood, you have to let them run out their contracts and whatever. What they've done is they're recruiting money back. But what they're doing is they're getting rid of all the rubbish, or people that just don't fit. I'm not saying they're all rubbish. Some like your Mason Mounts people, like he said. Divides attention stuff. And right now, what you need to do is focus on your football and the players that need to be there, want to be there. And that's what Chelsea are doing at the moment. And definitely, their goalkeeper, I mean, Mendy's gone as well. Obviously Kante, one brilliant legend, he's gone as well. There's been some big players that have left that maybe are not up to it anymore, bar maybe injuries or age or whatever, or just fell out of love of football. Ziyech is whatever. I know you said Ziyech failed his medical, but I think at some point he'll be gone anyway, or he'll just be frozen out the team. What they're doing is they're bringing a team, and remember with them as well, they can go big if they want to as well. So their goalkeepers like Onana, for example, that I watched. He was brilliant. That they can easily say, we'll have him. I mean, not a problem. You can have, someone like the Caicedo. Obviously, he's been heavily linked with him and Manchester United. I think the likelihood is Chelsea get him now because I think Manchester United have got Mason Mount or they've agreed it or whatever. I don't know if they're looking in that side of things. So, I mean, the thing is, they're doing bits over there, but I think maybe next year, at the end of next year, they're just going to be quietly playing their football for Chelsea's sake anyway. They're just be finally the unrest should be gone. All right, they need to address this thing with Todd Bowley to just, just focus on what he's doing upstairs and let the manager get on with the footballing side of things, and let them progress slowly. They've got the money when they need to. They're going to bring in the right players. I don't know much about this Jackson guy, but obviously they brought him in. But the one that interests me the most in their team so far, that's going to be brilliant for them, is Nkunku. Now, I know JPT saying that he doesn't see him as a main striker, but Nkunku, what he can do is I tell you this, I've said it so many times. All right, if I could have got Nkunku playing for Liverpool, I'd have snapped him straight away, because what he does is he reminds me a little bit of what Bobby Firmino was at Liverpool. This guy, if they can get their forwards or their things banging, and they've got Nkunku and he hits the all running straight away in a Premier League, this is going to be a player that people are resting on. This guy's going to be a brilliant player. And Chelsea's power, you know what I mean? And I'm not disrespecting Arsenal, but in terms of London teams and Champions League and stuff like that, all right, I know they've not got Champions League this season. They don't really have a lot to play for in the sense of that. They're going to be dangerous because they're just going to be focusing on their football, on their domestic football. And when they do that, they potentially could be the team that, people need to watch out for. Whereas Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, they're all strengthening, Man City, whatever. Let's not get it twisted, all right? They're one of the top team around. They just had a crappy season last year and some huge teething problems. But if they can get that team right, man, that's dangerous. That's very dangerous. So I like what they're doing over there for them.
That's very dangerous.
They are dangerous, man. They are dangerous. So people that are laughing and they're saying, they've got problems and they'll sack Pochettino by the end of the month or something like that. Just be careful, man. Do you know what I mean? Just reserve your judgment until like
by the end of the month.
No, but you know what the people like. People are very brutal in it and understandably to a degree, because obviously they've had issues with managers staying and stuff like that. So, but right now they're just doing their thing. They're getting rid of all the deadwood or players that don't fit in their system. They brought in a decent manager. They've got money. The team's stadium's okay. They've got pedigree. They can attract players. So, you know what I mean? It's just those death row contracts and stuff. And our JPT was saying that that's going to be a loophole. So, you know what I mean? Let's see what happens with them. But, so far, so good for them.
Tommy, are you there, Tommy? Hello, Tommy. Tommy's not there. Okay. Guys. Say Mason Mount to Manchester United. And Manny Tangadra, I want you to look into this. Mason Mount, Manchester United. James Maddison, down to our noisy neighbors that out there in North London. Manny, out of these two guys, should Arsenal or should any of all these other teams, I'm talking of Liverpool, Chelsea, should they have been looking at these guys? Maybe James Maddison for Chelsea and maybe at Liverpool, since they're looking for, midfield hitters. Couldn't they look into James Maddison, who could at least assure you 15, 12 goals in a season from midfield? He's shown that in Leicester City. He's been doing that. He's quite a decent player. And of course, it's not that English player that's going to cost you £105 million. Is that kind of guy that is within the wheelhouse of Liverpool, of what they like spending on players.
Watch yourself, bro.
But Manny, did you think Arsenal should have been looking at James Maddison in any way? Or any of the big four should have been looking at him in any way? Because right now he left to Tottenham Hotspurs. And Mason Mount, should Arsenal have looked at that guy? Should Liverpool have looked at that guy?
Mount, no, same as Havertz. Just as shocked as I was when we ended up going for Havertz, I really failed to see what Mount would have offered to Arsenal that we wouldn't already have. And I think it's fair to say, by the way, JPT, wasn't it Mount who scored the winner in the Champions League final?
It was Havertz. I think Mount gave him the assist.
Right. So basically, both of those two have been split up and they're going in different directions now. So obviously Havertz will continue to live off that Champions League winning final goal till the end of his days, as it were. And anyway, back to the question. If you had said Tielemans, I would have said no. Because I remember having a chat with Baz knows these two gentlemen very well, Statman Stubbs and Glasgow John Moore. They do some terrific videos together, and obviously I love both those gentlemen. I remember going on a Q&A show with both of them and asked them if they were interested in Tielemans, and John said, "Nope, mate, don't want him, too lazy." And I even spoke to Chris from Leicester Till I Die about Maddison and told him that we might be interested in having him. He said Maddison is sort of the camera player who will produce all of these fancy moves and terrific plays when the cameras are on him, but when he doesn't have the ball, he doesn't offer you very much. Maybe a bit of a harsh call, because at least unlike Tielemans, he has shown some industry and has produced in a way. And certainly if Spurs have got him, he's someone who will obviously get some guaranteed first-team football over there. Had we gotten him, there would have been a question of where we would have been able to fit him in. Because unless Odegaard has a really bad run of form or gets a very serious almost career-threatening injury, Maddison again might not see much of much time on the field. So we could have gone for Maddison, but in the end we decided not to. But the fact that Spurs have gone in for him shows how highly they rate him. I think when Leicester played Tottenham and did as well as they did, Maddison was pretty much front and center of their displays. So yeah, a good buy, and also pretty decent value for money. As you said, Tony, he's not going to cost you too much in terms of the fee. So that's pretty much a good call. As for Mount, well, again, it's really a question of, like Arteta with Havertz, Eric Ten Hag having a plan for Mason Mount and bringing him in almost in the same way that the Manchester United manager at the time had a plan for Juan Mata and signed him from Chelsea. I don't know if history is necessarily repeating itself, and I think a lot of United fans are very eager to back Eric Ten Hag and his ideals, because last season was a bit of an improvement. They won a trophy, they finished as high as third, and they could certainly start cooking with more and more of their players like De Gea, Jones, and a few others also being shown the door and told that they can leave, so they're going to be able to rebuild. I don't again see where Mount fits in, because they also like to play a 4-2-3-1 system where you've got Casemiro, Fred, and or Christian Eriksen fighting for two spots in the defensive midfield area. Attacking midfield, you've got Bruno Fernandes. I think with Jadon Sancho possibly going, Mount could find a role over there. But then with Garnacho and a few others also coming back into contention, again, Mount would find it extremely difficult to fit into that system and really get some game time in that system. He could possibly find a role just like Havertz as a potential number 8, almost like what he's doing at Chelsea. But again, will he get to play ahead of the options that are already there? There will have to be some more clear outs to make sure that that can happen. And Mount was another player who flattered to deceive last season. I think JPT will agree with me on that. I really don't think that Chelsea's players, for the most part, did themselves any favors by some of their performances last season when they were given the opportunity. There were a few exceptions. I was a bit surprised that Koulibaly went to Saudi Arabia, because maybe you'll disagree with me on this, JPT, but I actually thought that he looked good for the most part. He started to perhaps be a little bit inconsistent, maybe towards the end of the season, but on the whole, I thought he was someone who deserved to be given the benefit of doubt, especially with Chelsea's defense, aging as it already is. Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta, and maybe one or two others. I think you're already saying goodbye to Trevor Chalobah, if I'm not wrong. I don't even know if Reece James is fully fit. So I was a bit surprised to see Koulibaly obviously leave, but there are some players from Chelsea. Most of the players from Chelsea didn't really do themselves any favors last season. So for Manchester United to covet Mount is not necessarily because they think he was in good form, but because maybe because, like Arteta with Havertz, as I said, Ten Hag sees something in Mount. I wouldn't know what that is. I mean, I'm not even a Manchester United supporter, and I wouldn't even know if that move would necessarily pay dividends. But to answer your question, if more teams should have come in for the likes of Mount and Madison, it would depend, I would say, if teams could find a place for him in their system. But as far as Mount was concerned, I'm really, really surprised to see United in for him. But of course, United are trying to rebuild, and if they see Mount as someone who could add to their system, good luck to everyone concerned. I hope that answers your question, Tony.
Tony?
Yeah, sure. You did. Tommy, are you there? Because I'd like you to say something before we start thinking of going.
Baz.
Tommy, are you there?
Baz. Yeah, I'm here. Baz.
Yes, Tony.
I wanna. Why can't you be in the title race next season? Because obviously you've had a bad season. I think you'll come back because I need Liverpool. I need you lot in the title race as well, but because I like Liverpool and I think you lot will come back. But if you lot are not in the title race, is there pressure on Klopp? Is there questions on him? Because I rate him. He's a top class. He's a world class manager. But if you're not in a title race, is there pressure on Klopp?
Yeah, big up, man, bro. Finally, can hear you clearly, bro. Yeah, and sorry, I'm not disrespecting you. It's just obviously like I wanted to hear from you. You know what I mean? But no, the thing is, I just don't believe we can, and the reason why is just because we still need a lot more investment.
True.
You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we're talking about midfielders, but we're looking at Van Dijk as well. You know, Van Dijk the last few years has been probably one of the best defenders in the league. But you see, this is it. You know what I mean? And whether it's his age, whether it's just maybe the midfield, maybe it was just a system or whatever it was, we've got struggles there. And we're unsure with our right back what we're doing, if we're actually going to play Trent at right back or if he's going to be in that inverted role. We still need to cover a right back slot. I don't think you know we're going to have that much in it. We've lost literally 4 players on a free. You know what I mean? Milner. We've seen those guys. You know that have gone.
Yeah, Milner past his best. It's good you let him go. Like the guy.
But then there's also Firmino, Oxlade-Chamberlain. I know some of these guys didn't play, Naby Keita and stuff like that. But nevertheless, if we're getting 2 or 3 players in and we've lost 4 or 5, you know what I mean? Then we still ain't got a squad strong enough to challenge. I think what we have is if we do get this guy along the line, Szoboszlai, and maybe another.
Szoboszlai's quality,
He's a brilliant player. I mean, you know, it'd be brilliant to have him. But again, you know, seeing is believing for me. At the same time, if we can get Thuram in, then it would address a midfield issue. Then he can start playing his ways. You know what I mean? Like Klopp can start playing his ways. Having said that, I think we are just a little bit short. It might be surprising. We might actually go and get 5 players. If we do, then we might have another discussion. But right now, from what I see, Liverpool are still very cautious with the money. And to answer the Jurgen Klopp thing, look, the pressure is always there, to be fair.
But I rate Klopp. He's a world-class manager. Because I remember I wanted him after when Wenger stayed too long for me, when he should have stepped. I wanted Klopp in it when he was at Dortmund, and we missed out on him. But like I said, I like Klopp. He's just stubborn. He doesn't change the tactics, the formation. He plays that 4-3-3. I'm thinking it's not working anymore. You're getting found out, and he doesn't change the tactics. I'm thinking, that's what Liverpool fans are. I'm thinking, have they lost faith in him last season when you dropped off in it? But I think you'll come. I think you'll come back. I can't, because I don't want people writing you off. I think Liverpool will be back. I think you'll be back.
You know what?
Need more players. I think you'll be back.
You see, that's the key. We need more players, and then this is the divide in the Liverpool camp right now with all supporters. FSG or Klopp or both of them. Are they in the same bed? You know what I mean? Are they doing the same thing? Is he doing Arsene Wenger like previously? You know, like when towards the end of Arsene Wenger's tenure at Arsenal,
22 years.
You know what I mean? Is Klopp taking shares at Liverpool now and just relaxing, letting FSG just not spend money? There's a lot of questions, you know what I mean? The thing is, all right, people know my view. I do fancy a change now. I do want a change. However, all right, he has shown signs of, you know, this stubbornness and this sentimental stuff. Look, he lost some of his players that he really wanted. He wanted Milner. Milner's gone now. You know what I mean? It's this consistent, you know, sentimental thing at Jurgen Klopp has got to be, you know, you can't do that at a big team like Liverpool. And now, you know, let's just see. I mean, I'm looking at it and thinking, you know what, we've got to give him this money credit in a bank thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Doesn't
How
really
rated
wash with me.
fast manager?
Yeah.
Can I ask
However,
Can I ask you this?
I'll just quickly land it. I'll just quickly land this one.
Go on.
But what I'll say is, come January, I will be judging him then.
One more. People say, because you know, like obviously Klopp's one of the best managers
but
I've ever
yeah,
watched.
I'm sorry, Tommy. I'm sorry, Tommy.
Go on.
Tommy, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I wanted to ask Baz this.
Go on.
You guys were trying to trying to look at a revamp of your midfield. Why weren't you guys looking for James Maddison this season? And now Tottenham Hotspurs have taken him already. Mason Mount also. Since you guys are looking for reinforcement in the middle, why didn't you guys look at any of these two guys? James Maddison, at least the one I know, he can legitimately assure you of 10 goals from the midfield in a season, 10, 12 goals.
When he wants to play, when he wants to play and when he's fit enough, that's the thing with Maddison. Maddison has of recent times had issues with injuries, loss of form. Yes, he is included still in the England team. He's still considered one of the better English midfielders, but you know, we don't play with that system. The player that he is won't fit into our system. And you can have all the players in the world, if you know, into your team and make them a squad. But if they don't fit in your system, they are dead wood because they won't offer anything. And I don't think Maddison in particular will offer Liverpool anything, to be fair, that we don't, you know, that the players that we're bringing in can offer. The tax again, it was 30 million Tottenham had paid for him. It's a nominal fee nowadays, but when I look at it, I think generally he doesn't fit our system, so there's no point even looking at him. He is an injury prone player, and I think he does turn up for the cameras, to be fair. So I know what Manny was saying in terms of the Leicester till I die people, because we had a Statman thing with Statman. We did a show with those guys, and big up to them. He's not something that fits Liverpool, to be fair. And in terms of Mason Mount, maybe a little bit. In terms of his industry, all right, Mason Mount's industry, all right, will probably fit a Jurgen Klopp's type of thinking. Having said that, even him, we don't know where we're going to play him. Where would we play him? Because I don't see him as a midfielder. I see him more as an attacking forwardish midfielder. And Liverpool don't really do that. When you see you've got your Salah on the right and you've got your thing there. If we're building in terms of we need a body that's just going to come in to cover every now and then maybe that. And Mason Mount at 60 million quid and probably 200,000, whatever he's commanding at Tottenham, it's not good business for Liverpool. So that's why we're not looking at him in particular. And like I said, I stand very firm with Maddison. I don't rate him that highly, to be fair. I think Tottenham's
you don't rate Maddison. He's quality.
I think
take him at Liverpool.
To be honest with you, like I said, all right, I look, he's a good player, but for me, the last season or the season before, he's kind of had issues with injuries and he's kind of had loss of form. And I think, you know what, he needs to go to a club like Tottenham where he can establish himself. It's a step higher than what Leicester City is, all right? And no disrespect to Leicester. It's just
relegated, isn't it? So yeah.
They're relegated and they're not a Tottenham, to be fair. Tottenham, at least he'll have a Harry Kane there, you know, maybe an England partnership going on there with Harry Kane if he stays there. Then, you know, he can establish himself later on, and let's just see if he does progress or he takes that next step.
That's with Tottenham, they needed him because they haven't replaced Eriksen and they needed an attacking midfielder. It's like with us, we struggled to replace Fabregas and Santi Cazorla. Now we got Odegaard because we struggled to replace Santi Cazorla. It was one of my favorite players. But yeah, it's a good signing for Tottenham. But I think you guys with Liverpool, I think you'll be back. I don't think you're going to be having an awful season. I think you'll be back challenging for the Premier League.
I don't know. I think, like I said, I'll just quickly finish it because I know we want to move on. But I think with Liverpool, look, there's always an opportunity. There's always a chance. If if we hit the ball, you know, the season running, we've got Chelsea as our first game. That's going to be a very difficult one. But if we can just do our little, you know, just keep quiet and just do our thing, yeah. You know, we can probably be a potential whatever's. But in terms of like keeping Man City there, remember Man City, they're no joke. You know what I mean?
You've chased them for 5 years. You went
but you know what? Our life cycle, brother. Our life cycle is you know, kind of when you look at Henderson and stuff like that, the industry is just not there no more. So if these guys come in and they do well, then yeah, there's a possibility because we know how to stay in a race. And I'm not disrespecting Arsenal. I'm just saying that, you know, we've been there.
No,
over
you've got the experience.
this is it.
People
This is it.
people were saying we chased Man City. Robbie was saying I said to them, no, we didn't. They chased us because we crumbled. They chased us. We didn't. We were 93% top of the league, and we fell apart. Like you've been toe to toe with them for 5 years. You have more experience than us.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
But that's the thing with Arsenal. Don't let what happened last year. Like I totally get it. As a Liverpool fan, we didn't win a league for over 30 years, and you know when we won that was big. Even though it was in the COVID time, we didn't have our fans and stuff like. You know what? It's still on the wall. 19 titles and whatever.
Yeah,
but
still got the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely. But the fact is, all right, we learned. Even there were competitions or there were times where we lost by a point or 2 points or here and there.
Yeah.
We got the experience and then it just got us stronger. And I think with Arsenal, if they build that team and that squad in particular, because remember, it's big now. Champions League has changed since the last times you guys were in it.
Yeah.
You know, you need a good squad now. And if you can balance it really well, then you guys would have taken a valuable lesson. When Manny was saying that, you know, West Ham, you know, had been more successful. In terms of maybe a silverware, but sometimes you know what, in terms of like the experience is more valuable than a silverware sometimes, because what it's done is given you that belief and it's given you that hope and that experience to challenge for the more important title, which is the Premier League. So it works both ways. And let's just see in terms of Liverpool. Let's just see. But you know, I'm one of those guys where
let's see what happens.
I will say, Baz, that it's the hope that kills you more than anything else.
This is why I don't. This is exactly. This is why. And big up to you, bruvs. You know, Liverpool. I don't want to be even thinking about no title right now. Yeah, I might make some noise if we're, you know, come January, February. You know, we're sitting very close with Man City or Arsenal or Manchester United or even Chelsea. You know, but I think
even
Newcastle as well, you know what I mean? They're going to have that taste. They're going to have
Tonali, man. What a signing.
You got to throw in Brighton and Villa too.
Yeah, I mean, big up to Iconic. Yeah. Big up to Iconoclast. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, big up to Iconoclast, by the way, because he's
Aston Villa have just brought in Paul Torres.
Good signing for them.
Aston Villa have just brought in or paid the money for Paul Torres. So Aston Villa is assembling a great squad to come over next season and lay siege on that title. And you know what? Yeah, when you have a coach like Unai Emery, who has an ambitious spirit, very, very ambitious kind of guy, yeah, and you have him at the helms of affairs at Aston Villa, and his pool trying to get big players for that football club. See, yeah, that guy can genuinely be running around the top four.
It didn't work out for us.
Legitimately, he could be running in and about top four next season. Next season is going to be a big one, yeah, guys. Let's go into projections so that we could close the show.
Yeah, before that, Tony, let me just answer
Manny, projection for next season. Mostly when you see our signing.
Yeah, before that, let me just answer this question.
Yeah, sure.
Iconoclast, big up to you, by the way. You've been asking me several questions. I'm going to try to come back to all of them. The first one, you asked whether Partey's departure would weaken our squad. Yes, it would, and especially if we can't get any proper replacements for him. I know Jorginho's done okay, but he's no Thomas Partey. Partey just offers that much more when he starts, and Jorginho comes on and does the job holding things together. So Rice and Partey would be my ideal starting defensive midfielders, with Georgie to come on a little bit later. And this question now, do you think we will resist any big offer that may come in for Martinelli or Saliba? I'm willing to say that we're not going to have any offers now, but later on in the season, depending on how things go, let's say if Martinelli suffers a few injuries and is unable to really produce the form that really carried him and our team the last few seasons, we could see a team possibly offer him a way out. And maybe we might decide, you know what, might as well, let him leave. With Saliba, the jury is still out on this one. I think he has signed a new deal, but again, it's also going to remain to be seen how well his season pans out, because obviously, given his performances last season, a lot of teams will be interested in him, and so far Arsenal have said no. But this season, a lot could change, and maybe by January we could see some concrete offers, or even by the end of this season, we'll see what happens. So I'd say the best answer to that question, the most definitive answer, will be at the end of the season. So I hope that answers both your questions. And my prediction for the season, it's going to be very difficult. I'm going to start with the easiest one, the Champions League campaign. We're unseeded, so in all likelihood, we're going to come up against in a group with a couple of big hitters and another team who might also end up being also-rans in the group. I hope and pray that we finish third, because I would not want to run the risk of finishing fourth and dropping out of Europe altogether, and then have the bigger fish to fry argument come up again saying, well, at least we can win the Premier League now.
I don't want that again.
We'll see what happens. I mean, having worked so hard to get back into the Champions League and drooling over the prospect of having, the anthem being played again, to go back into the Europa League would be horrible, but it would not be anywhere near as bad as crashing out in fourth place. And I really don't see us qualifying from the group stages. Even if we do, we won't we won't go past the round of 16. I can guarantee you that. Now, with regard to the cups, I predict runs to the semi-finals, but that's as far as it'll go. And as far as the league is concerned, I really don't see us improving on our second place position, because we know that last season also was an absolutely tumultuous season, with the World Cup happening in between, and also several other things happened which caused a lot of delays to games. And so we took advantage of a lot of these circumstances, and the fact that a lot of players of certain teams had their minds firmly on the World Cup to eke out some wins and build up a lead, only to then lose it in such horrible circumstances at the end. And several of those teams might actually come back and do really well. So, Arsenal women's team have signed Canadian Chloe Lacasse.
Good signing
pretty
for
good.
us. Our women's team is good.
Quite a good signing. I think, if Chris Mossing has seen her play for the women's team, I think he will definitely know how good she is, and she'll definitely add to our team. And but as far as the men's team is concerned, I think I would like to see us once again, securing a top 4 finish at least. I'd like to see us, finishing 4th. But it's not going to be easy at all.
No title race.
No, I just think that the other teams are going to rebuild in such a way that they will be determined to make up for the blip in that season. And the thing about a team like Chelsea, as JPT will tell you, is that even if they have an annus horribilis, the next year they come back firing on all cylinders and really making sure that some other teams know that they are back and ready to roar. And that's going to be the same with other teams. And I will even say, Baz, don't count Liverpool out, because you've let go of Milner, you've let go of Bobby Firmino. There's no more Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and I don't know the other player who's also left. Shame on me, I know. I will say, though, that you will need to have some defensive reinforcements, because I genuinely believe that Virgil van Dijk's form has really nosedived, and he is going to need some genuine, proper competition for his place. And I also think the TAA Joe Gomez situation has to be resolved. If you can somehow find a way to resolve all of these problems by the beginning of the season, and you in your team start to cook, especially with Szoboszlai and McAllister coming in, and the new front three of Diaz, Salah, and Nunes, or whoever else it may be, starting to do well. Who knows? You could come back, and I think you're also going to shake off that stupor. So don't rule out a Champions League charge or even a title race yet. Let the season play out. Yeah.
Tony, I got one more thing to say. Tony.
Right now we're rounding up projections.
One more.
Right now.
I got my prediction.
Tommy C, what's your projection for next season? Mind you, you also have to put in, wait, Tommy C. You also have to put into perspective the signings that are coming in to Arsenal Football Club.
That's
Kai
fine.
Havertz, Declan Rice, Timber. These are big signings.
Yeah, they're big signings.
Yeah. So what do you think when you attach all these things? Yeah. What do you think will happen next season?
Next
And mostly when you
season,
look at Liverpool, see, these guys are not doing big
next
huge
season,
business.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
not bringing in Camavinga from Real Madrid. Chelsea's not bringing in Tchouameni from Real Madrid. You know, they're not doing big things, actually.
I think Chelsea
They're
would be
getting players
strong
out,
next
but they're
season.
not doing big things in the transfer window. You know, and Arsenal came second, and we're trying to at least, you know, sort out one or two things. So do you think that we can, you know, just improve on what we
Yeah,
did
we
last
can
season?
improve. But next season, for me, he has to get to at least quarterfinals of Champions League, at least. This manager, because I'm still Arteta, right? I just don't trust this manager. Quarterfinals, at least for me, he has to get at least quarterfinals. I don't want to get out of this group stage and be disappointed again. Quarterfinals, at least. He has to win. He has to win the league now. No excuses. You've got your players. He has to win the league because 19 years with no title, 19 years is not good enough. He has to win the league. Carabao Cup, we have to win. We have to try and win it because we haven't won it since 1993, man. We have to win the Carabao FA Cup. Need to win it as well. If we don't win anything next season, we finish like third. He has to go. Like, he's been here for almost 4 years and he hasn't won. We haven't won a trophy in 3 years and we haven't won the league.
I want to know
years.
what are your projections
to win the league?
What are your projections for next season?
To win the league.
What are your projections?
To win the league, get to at least quarterfinals of the Champions League, win the Carabao Cup, and win the FA Cup. He has to do that for me. Otherwise, sack him.
Good.
Yeah, I've done it.
Guys, you've heard that, man. Tomislav Sabia, kill throat. When it comes to this manager, he's not buying it. You know, he's really not buying it. Manny, but Manny, are you see, Manny? You know what? How about this? Yeah, let me put you on the spot because I really feel no one has actually put you on the spot. So I'll put you on the spot just before I go to the projections of both JPT and Baz, my big friend. See, yeah, Manny, are you Arteta in or are you Arteta out? Yes.
I am still
Yes.
very much.
Manny, what's your answer?
Calm down. You will never hear me say that I am Arteta. I made it crystal clear. No, hold it. No, I'm not Arteta in. You will never hear me say that I'm Arteta in. And I made it crystal clear. Crystal clear that I cannot forgive nor forget what happened last season. He's going to be given a chance. And all I will say, and I agreed with Thomasin, that he will live and die on the Havertz signing. So Havertz and Rice and even Timber are going to have to start hitting the ground running. And failing in the Cups, says Iconoclast, was part of Arsenal's misgivings last season. We ended up playing once a week instead of once every 4 days, meaning we lost our game sharpness, vital for momentum. And that is a brilliant point that you've made, Iconoclast. Instead of just getting rest, that rest turned to rust. And that was our big problem. This particular bigger fish to fry nonsense should never, ever be allowed to fly with any genuine Arsenal fan, because it's really challenging for trophies, which really gets you, which really tests your resolve as a team and means that you have a bigger chance of getting everything. I mean, a lot of people will say that you can't have too many fingers and too many pies, but you've also got to make it clear that you can't put all your eggs in one basket, because it's one of the basic laws of probability. At least if you are determined to give your best in as many competitions as you can, you know, at least you give yourself a chance of winning something and at least giving yourself the satisfaction that you've done your best, you've given it your best. And on several occasions throughout the season, you know, we haven't given our best. And I think that Europa League loss to Sporting was absolutely horrible. I was doing a watch along. I was confident that we would win because Sporting had 2 players suspended. But again, we all know what happened. And I was absolutely seething at the end of that. And when I was seething when I went on to Del Boy Gunner's call-in show later on that night. So you can imagine. So, no, I'm not Arteta in. I will say jury's out. I want to give him a chance. I want to see him come good on his promises. But as Thomason said, he's going to live and die on the signings that he has made right now. And if he fails,
did you see how
I don't think he's. I don't think Arteta will win the title. I think other teams are going to come back very strong, and I think somebody mentioned that Newcastle are also strengthening. They're going to be a team to watch soon because they've cooked under Eddie Howe this previous season. And come on, Chris, you're winding me up. Knock it off. And so listen, I'm jury out. I am still sort of 65% Arteta out, 35%, give him a final chance. But this season, he has to deliver. No questions asked. And I've got several friends on a private WhatsApp group who aren't Arsenal fans who were telling me, they like Arteta, they love what he's done. I should trust the process. And I keep telling them, get yourself stuffed, boys. You really don't know much about what's going on. And they keep telling me, well, we should be proud of having won the most, the joint most number of games or second most number of games in the season. So what? We finished second. And those great teams which won a similar amount of games under Wenger, they'd cook this current lot right now.
Ooh, fire.
See, I'll go to JPT, who saved the best for the last. Baz, the last one, yeah? See, JPT, what do you have to say? Your projections for next season, yeah? See, you know one argument I have here just before I allow you to say, yeah? Arsenal, look at what Arsenal is doing in the transfer window. We've not brought out all these players yet. We've not brought them in yet, but at least you can see the movement. I've not seen that movement from Chelsea Football Club. I've only seen outgoings. I've not seen ins in that football club yet for me to be able to say, okay, these guys are cooking in the transfer window. So therefore, things are going to change next season. And for Liverpool, yeah, they brought in McAllister. But again, is that enough? So when you look at every other team around, yeah, that should be fighting in and about that top four. Even Manchester United, who did they bring in? Mason Mount. And for me, Mason Mount is past his best. For me, if you ask me, yeah, I don't think that's enough for these teams to actually gazon the league next season. That's why I have this doubt that these teams are ready. They're not ready because I'm not seeing the bigger signings coming in. I'm not seeing the expensive signing coming in. I'm not just seeing anything. So I'm not inspired. So I'll ask you this question, JPT. What's your projection for Chelsea Football Club next season? Do you see them challenging for the title next season with what you have on ground right now and with what is going on around the transfer window right now?
So to answer the first part, you don't see many signings right now for Chelsea because the main thing we had to do was get rid of players. I mean, we had an overbloated squad. We had a lot of debt that we were trying to recover from, which we did. Now we can start signing players. I mean, we got Jackson, we got Nkunku. We're on the verge of getting this Caicedo deal done. And who knows what else we're going to address. And that's the main thing. So I'm not surprised that we didn't see a lot of signings as of yet. But the main thing is that we have a new manager. Yes, he's not a winning manager as far as for championships or any cups, but he is there for the improvement. That's why I don't really predict us to be in the line, especially for the league. We're not challenging for the league. Unless your name is Manchester City, you're not challenging for the league. It's gonna be their league until Pep leaves, as I've said this before. But it's what I'm seeing right now. I think the rebuild is going good. I do see us finishing in Europa spots, because now I'm trying to get familiar with the new format now that I think fifth is now considered Champions League spot. But it's going to be very, very difficult. None of these results from what you would consider like easy wins from back then are going to happen because Newcastle have gained better with the signing of Tonali. We mentioned Villa, Torres, and I forgot who else. They made another big signing as well recently. Brighton are getting better with De Zerbi. It's going to be very competitive. Whoever's going to be winning the league next season, whether it is Arsenal, whether it is City, it's going to be well deserved, but top four is going to be very difficult to get. But I think to address what Baz was saying, that they're going to be back competing for top four. Like that's when he said they're back for that, but they're not competing for the league, and that's not a shot at Liverpool. It's they still have to get the midfield rebuild get going, and yeah. So of course with Arsenal they're gonna make the more signings because they needed that depth. They needed the squad. I mean that was one of the big factors of why you saw Arsenal capitulate after the Liverpool draw. It was the youth of the squad, with mental weakness. It's also the lack of depth because when Saliba was gone, that was pretty much like the death penalty for them. If it wasn't for that, it was Xhaka, or not even Xhaka. But what was it? The fact that he had to go play in left back for whatever reason at the end, which that didn't make any sense for me. When you have Tierney in there, or even with now you have this good depth built up. I think if you get the likes of Lavia, or even throw in if you don't get Lavia because of whatever his price is, I think you get like a steal if you were going for. It's probably gonna be a bad take, but Wilfred Ndidi for very very cheap to help in the defensive midfield role. But yeah, I see us finishing in Europa spots at best. We're going to slowly build to get better with Poch. And if anything, we'll probably go for the Carabao Cup. If other than that, we're out of the league. FA Cup, we might make it to quarters. But it's going to be very, very competitive. This season is going to be very interesting to keep an eye out.
Very interesting to see. Yeah, I told you that I would save the best for the last, right? Good. Baz, it's time for you to give your projection for next season. See, you've already brought in McAllister. That's a good one, yeah? Good. You're in for Dominic, yeah? I also think that's a good signing. But until he dons a Liverpool shirt, I don't believe it yet. So right now, with the signings you've already brought in, do you think Liverpool is going to get in and about the act next season? Are you guys going to challenge for the title? If you're not going to be challenging, are you going to be looking at that European title? I'm talking of the Europa League. Are you looking at it as something that's a viable option, to win that title? And also add the FA Cup, into that trophy cabinet of yours, and also the Carabao Cup. Where do you see Liverpool do you see Liverpool sticking around this season and getting those trophies and raking them up with the players you have right now?
As far as I'm
Big
concerned,
ups, Mr. B, who is in the charts, man. Big ups to you, man.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, every season is a new season. Yeah, with all its different possibilities. Yeah, it's a fresh start. All the rest of it. Look, it's as simple as this. Yeah, whatever competition we're in, we have to go there and try to win it. Now, when it comes to Europa Cup, that's something that Jurgen Klopp hasn't won. Yeah, he's got to the final, but he hasn't won it. That's the only trophy as a Liverpool manager he hasn't won. We're in this now, and irrespective of him not winning that before or not, yeah, we need to win it. Yeah, it's as simple as that. We need to win it because it guarantees you Champions League next season, irrespective of where we finish. So that's important. And then at the same time, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, we don't spend big like a lot of the other teams do. So what we need to do is blood some players in, because as much as people are talking about big signings and we're not signing this or we're not signing that, we still got some great players that people, like a lot of teams talk about their youth academies. Arsenal, I'm pretty sure you got one or two good gems there that can come in, at some point. Same thing with Chelsea. They've proven it over the years. They've got really brilliant youngsters. We need to give an opportunity to some of these youngsters, the Ben Dokes of this world, people like that, Bobby Clark, Connor Bradley, who just absolutely smashed everything in Bolton during the Championship. We need to give players opportunities. Now, you don't need to sign big to win big. Liverpool have done that over the years. You know what I mean? We have signed maybe statured players like maybe your Van Dijks and stuff like that. But remember this, none of this would have happened if we didn't sell Coutinho. So we sold Coutinho and then we had put some money in. And to be fair, the owners did allow us to spend that money. So we did that. We built the team. It's taken us a little while to challenge someone like a Man City. Man City are going to be the team to beat if they're going to get Gravendale as well, which is a very huge possibility. Man, and they got that in defense with Diaz, yeah, and they've got that Terminator up front as well. You know what? It's mad. They're the team. They're the benchmark. They're the team that everyone needs to beat. It's as simple as that. Liverpool, I don't believe, can go through that. They can't do that. I think we can perhaps bring a run together. We can play some great football. Obviously, last season we went into the season without midfielders and big issues, yeah, and it showed because we finished 5th. We were nowhere in it. Do you know what I mean? Even the top 4, no chance. This season so far, currently, is still very early to talk about predictions and stuff like that because you know what? We can go and get maybe 3 or 4 players. Not likely, but you know what? We can go and buy a defender. We can go buy a right back and we can buy another midfielder. Then I could be telling you, you know what? Based on how we are and our experience, yeah, we could give them a run. Now, I can't say that right now. What I can say right now is we're 2 players plus, all right, which will bring Liverpool into an opportunity to play a lot better than they did last year. Because last year we had Fabinho that was just getting walked all over. You had a Henderson that that was just like a dime battery that you had to keep just jump starting and stuff like that. We had a Van Dijk, right, who the poor guy has been an absolute colossal for Liverpool. Yeah, that was just getting straight into. There was no midfield to do that. We had Nunes who came in, who obviously people ridiculed, yeah, who scored 15 goals, yeah. And then we brought in a Cody Gakpo. Not many people have mentioned Cody Gakpo, who finished the season strong. So he's going to be another one that's going to establish himself. Diaz got injured against Arsenal earlier on in the season, and he was out for the whole season. You've got obviously Jota as well, who was out for a lot of the season, who was scoring some important goals, notably Tottenham and stuff like that. We had some huge problems. Let's not get that twisted, yeah. But I did say earlier on, do we have a chance? But Baz, you've just said all these players, they're going to be there, so surely we're going to do all right, right? Every season is different. You know what I mean? I don't want to tempt fate, but you know what? We could go into the season with potential injuries again. And we've got a manager who's been there, done it, and won it. Yeah. We've got a manager who is loved by a lot of people from Liverpool and even out of Liverpool, because I'm sure if he became on the market right now, a lot of people will be inquiring about Jurgen Klopp for their team. But ultimately, will we challenge? And I'm being real now. I think what we'll do is we will get top 4. We'll get top 4. That's likely. We have to challenge in the competitions, absolutely, because we, like I said in the beginning, we're in it to win it. We definitely need to blood some players in. So I think we should be winning this Europa Cup, because I think even at the levels that we are right now, we'll probably be one of the favourites to win it. But then let's just remember, you're going to get 1 or 2 big teams that just drop out of the Champions League. Could be a Liverpool-Arsenal final. And I'm not saying Arsenal will get far. We'll be back.
Oh my God, Manny! I hope you're hearing this, man.
No, hold up. It could be that. It could be Manchester United. You know what I mean? Manchester United haven't been in it for a little while. You know what I mean? There's a possibility. And then, if they've got a better run or we have injuries, you know what I mean? Anything can happen in it. It's a game of football, in it. It's 90 minutes or 95 minutes or whatever. But we have to win it, and we have to give everything a go, and you need a squad for that. And if we can bring in these players, I believe if we can bring maybe a Thuram in and maybe a defender, then I think we don't push, but we give it a good goal, but not enough to win no title. FA Cup I expect, Carabao Cup I expect. But what I expect more importantly, right, is a huge improvement from last year. And if you've got midfielders in, which we're getting some players in, then that's going to be brilliant. I just want to say one thing out of Liverpool and to Arsenal. I am very surprised. I just want you guys to just think a little bit and just forget about the hurt of last year and stuff like that. Yeah, just think about how you guys were when you were playing your great football, when you were untouchable last year. Okay, think about that for a moment and how you nearly, all right, nearly won it. Yeah, but with these players that you've just brought in, you guys don't really trust this manager to actually maybe go one better or even win a trophy.
He's not the guy. Arteta's not winning us titles in Champions Leagues. He's just not the guy. We need Ancelotti, Enrique, Zidane, Simeone, Mancini, Conte, top managers, not Pep's water boy.
Pep, let me tell you something. Do you guys rate Pep? Yeah.
Yep, I'll take Pep all day. I'll take Klopp. I'll take
of course you'll take Pep all day, because I would take Pep all day, absolutely. But let me tell you something.
Zerbi as well. I'll take the Zerbi as well.
Right, Zerbi's an unproven guy. He's an unproven guy, but remember the foundations at Brighton are a good club. You know what I mean? They run well, and the foundations were already there. He was just done. What happens when he loses Caicedo and possibly they've lost McAllister, and then
the recruitment team is good though.
The recruitment team is amazing.
It is, but there's no guarantee some of these players come in and they do well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Is De Zerbi's my if anyone wants to know
above Arteta, I'll take him.
If anyone says to me right now, as it stands right now, yeah, if Jurgen Klopp leaves tomorrow, who am I taking? I'm taking De Zerbi all day long and twice on a Friday. But what I'm gonna say, yeah, is Arteta, yeah. When someone like Pep Guardiola says, I want you as my assistant, not anyone else, yeah, everyone that he's been in, all right, that says that he sees something in you, yeah, and who else better, all right, when City are the people who are the ones to beat, yeah, than to have someone who knows this guy, yeah, and if you establish a team, a strong team, yeah, and a squad, yeah, what's to say that you guys can't actually do that? Because this guy's got you playing brilliant football, yeah, better than what you have over the last 5-6 years. Yes, you capitulated badly, yeah. But let me tell you something. If he wins the Premier League next year, okay, and wins one cup, you're going to think he's a true legend.
Yeah, I'll praise him, but I just don't think he has what it takes to win titles. He's not Klopp. He's not Ancelotti. He's not Simeone. He's not Conte.
Remember Klopp, yeah.
He's not
so many finals. People are laughing at us when we lost our finals. We lost how many Champions League finals since he's been there? 2?
We lost like 2. Yeah, but he's bought 1 trophies at Dortmund before he came to you anyway.
Yeah, but not a lot. Not a lot. When you
he's got pedigree though.
Well, you know, you say that, yeah. When you think about it,
Pep's water boy, bro. That's all.
Yeah,
That's his Pep's
And I'm going to also say one thing right now. If Pep really valued Arteta that much that he wanted him to stay as his number 2, he wouldn't have allowed him to come to Arsenal. Let's get that.
Well, that's not his choice. You can't handcuff somebody. If someone wants to leave, you can't stop them.
No, but here's the thing. It isn't the question of maybe Arteta wanting to necessarily leave, but look, that's where Arteta's hubris kind of lies. And the reason why I'm going to make it very clear, and I'm going to back up Tommy by saying this, is that if Arteta wasn't able to tactically get it together in the Europa League against the Sporting Lisbon team that had 2 of their first team players suspended, mind you, and we've seen failure after failure in the Cup since he won that FA Cup with what was Unai Emery's team, and then started dismantling it by getting rid of some of the players who were responsible for that. I don't have any faith in him being able to continue. He's been our manager now for 3.5 seasons.
Right. How long has Klopp been Liverpool's manager? And what was he
almost
doing?
8 years. Almost 8 years. Klopp's been for almost 8 years.
No. Yeah, but it took 5 of those years. Yeah, 5 of those years were challenging, but we weren't good enough because we only won 1 title. So when everyone's talking about Jurgen Klopp,
when Klopp came to you, you had a bad team when he came to you. You had Milner.
Arsenal were the same thing. Look at Arsenal, what they were then, and they are now.
Yeah, but for me, I wanted Ancelotti after Emery. I wanted Simeone. I wanted Mancini, Conte. I wanted Ten Hag. I didn't want this rookie manager.
Look at Ancelotti at Everton. No one was even looking at him,
which is crazy.
It's not pedigree, but remember,
he's a world-class manager. No one expected him to go to Everton.
But he went, yeah, but bro, he went to Everton. I'm not trying to battle you or anything. I'm just trying to make you understand.
I get that, man. I get that.
Yeah, the thing is, he went to Everton. Fine, you know when people say, you know what, maybe Pep could go to Bristol Rovers and win them the title because he's that kind of guy.
Went to your rivals, bro. Angelo. Went to your rivals.
Yeah, he went to our rivals and he was rubbish.
Completely different context. And let me defend Ancelotti for you right now. He was not rubbish because let me tell you something.
What did they win? What did they win at Everton?
Manchester City,
12th with them and 10th.
He won nothing.
No,
he even start last season.
Baz, let me say something right now. He had a season and a half with them. He came in at the same time Arteta joined Arsenal.
Let me just sit down and watch.
What did he win?
What did he win? Going on?
Baz,
you're judge on trophies. You're judge on trophies.
Baz, please, mate. Listen, brother. You've been speaking for a long time. I'd like you to let me put some.
But I wasn't finished. You just interrupted me.
No, I wasn't interrupting you. You had.
Yes, you did. Because when I was talking to him, you said, "Baz, I'm going to say something." I haven't finished.
Okay, go ahead. Finish what you want to say.
No, but go on, because I've lost the flow now.
Okay.
I will say this.
Manny, you say, and then Baz will counter.
Yeah. So here's the thing: when Ancelotti joined Everton after Mauro Silva was sacked, they were in relegation trouble. We have to take a look at the context here. When Arteta joined Arsenal, we were 6th. Results under Emery had dictated that he had to go because he wasn't going to be given the backing and things weren't really looking as like they were going to be turned around anytime soon. But I don't like this narrative that Emery didn't do any good for the Arsenal because he really did whatever he could for us, and he had a really good first season at Arsenal, which did also end in a similar level of capitulation. But in many ways, it was far, far better than Arteta's first full season with us. Ancelotti came to Everton, saved them from relegation and made sure they finished comfortably in the table. He also overachieved with them by making sure they finished in the top half of the table. And at one point at Christmas, they were 2nd. They also had a pretty poor run of luck with some defeats and a few injuries. But let's not assume that Ancelotti failed at Everton. He didn't join that club with an aim to win them trophies, no. And obviously Everton had the history, but given their recent struggles, any progress from them would have been good progress. I was a bit disappointed when he left to go back to Real Madrid, but let me say this right now. The job he did at Everton, especially when you put it into perspective, the struggles that they since had under Rafa Benitez, under Frank Lampard, under Sean Dyche, again, they just survived relegation on the last day. Ancelotti overachieved with that lot. And Tommy made a brilliant point. Klopp had experience of winning trophies with Dortmund. Yes, they were very few and far between, but Bayern Munich have been dominating the Bundesliga for God knows how many years. So to break that cycle of dominance in between, you've got to have some pretty good minerals about you. And there were several of us who would have liked to have had Klopp at Arsenal. He went to Liverpool instead. The biggest issue that the likes of Tommy and I have with Arteta is that this guy joined as a greenhorn. Okay, aside from a stint as Pep's cone boy, or I'll be more respectful, assistant manager, he hadn't really had any top experience. And wisdom says you do what Vincent Kompany has done, serve your apprenticeship by working at some other clubs like an Anderlecht or a Burnley. No disrespect to Anderlecht, I think they're a more than decent team. And then you can try and go higher. Arteta was brought in because Arsenal wanted the romance of a former player and former captain coming back. Although, to be perfectly frank, he's more of an Everton legend than an Arsenal legend. And he never really did too much with us. He lifted one FA Cup as captain and was injured for the other final. The reason why we're not too fond of him is because he has been outrageously given so much more support and backing by this board, and results in comparison with that backing have not really been good enough. And he has shown on many occasions that he hasn't got any tactical sense to manage a game, and he's proven that in the way things have been done. So I remember saying that maybe Liverpool could challenge next season. You've also said maybe Arsenal could challenge and Arteta should be the person to take us one step further. But we're telling you from watching his games, he's not going to be that person to take us further. Maybe he can build us up or something like that, but he won't take us through to the finish line. Last season is definite proof of that. So are we wrong to want Arteta to either put up or shut up, shape up or ship out, win something or run out the back door? No, we're not. We want the best. We want to see Arsenal win trophies again. We haven't won too many trophies in God knows how many years. Going to be 20 years since we last won the league. Going to be 30 years since we last won a European title. So you can imagine where we are.
I don't know. Liverpool had the same problem all along.
But you at least were winning trophies in Europe.
But you won FA Cups. You won FA Cups. Didn't you win anything with Arteta?
Are
Did you win
you?
an FA Cup?
But
You
FA
won
Cups
something.
don't.
You can't just say that.
FA Cups don't compare to European
Oh,
trophies.
come on, behave
And
yourself.
the
You're talking
trophies
about
and-
winning
and-
trophies. Now you're talking. What do you actually want? Because you're saying you want trophies. Yeah, isn't an FA Cup a trophy? Isn't it a start? We didn't win no Champions League.
It is a start, but you've got to build on that start. And
yeah, absolutely, and that's what Arteta's done. He's built your team, bruv.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't built
what are you
it.
talking about,
What have we looked like winning? What have we
behind
looked like
a Man
winning?
City team?
What have we
90% winning the league.
I'm sorry.
Nah,
you
bro.
cannot say
Uh-huh.
that we are in a good position to challenge the City team.
Oh,
because
you're in a better position than Liverpool, mate.
Last season, we had a chance to show what we were made of, and we got spanked on aggregate 7-2. 3-1 at the Emirates, 4-1 at the Etihad. At least your Liverpool team beat them at Anfield, even if you lost at the Etihad. And listen, you can't say that it doesn't matter and then say we can challenge them. And what we're seeing right now in the cricket is this. You can play some really sexy, silky, seductive football and have that work against some some smaller teams. But when it comes up to the bigger teams and when you're tactically found out and you don't even have the common sense.
How about Liverpool, the Jurgen Klopp that you guys rate so much? How many points did you get off Liverpool last year? Because you're talking about Arteta's no good. He's not this, he's not that. How much points did you get from this great Liverpool team last year?
We got 4 I will admit.
Right. So what you're telling me? You're telling me this guy's shit then? He can't manage a team. You're trying to tell me this guy's not brought you to glory, like nearly glory. Do you think that when Jurgen Klopp came to Liverpool, we were all that? It took us years and even years. As a Liverpool fan, yeah, I'm not happy with Jurgen Klopp because you know what, as far as I'm concerned, this brilliant manager, yeah, this tactical manager, this great thing, yeah, has won us one Premier League, one Champions League in 8 years. That's not good enough. But you know something, yeah? We still got him. Everyone thinks he's all hunky-dory and stuff like that, yeah? He's not the greatest manager. But what you guys need to understand, yeah, is with him, yeah, and with managers, you have to build and establish a team. That doesn't just come. You guys, okay, been playing shit football over the years. And last year, what you done, okay, is got a team together, built it, and you're improving on it, yeah? You guys can't just click your finger and expect a title. Liverpool were like, it was the same thing with Liverpool. I think sometimes Arsenal fans and some Arsenal fans, yeah, that's why Liverpool people laugh at you guys, because you guys just expect things and think, you know what? No, he should be doing this. We should be doing that. It takes time. Liverpool won the team.
But he's had his time, brother. He's had his time. He's had 3 years. Unai Emery
3 years is not enough, brother.
Unai Emery only had 1 season and a half. In his first season, he took us to a European final, and we missed out on the top 4 by a proverbial whisker. Yes, it was a capitulation, and we have to hold him to the same standard. But the reason why we're angry with Arteta is that Arteta, regardless of his lack of experience, he has now been given twice as much time as Emery has. So he has to be held to this. No, I'm sorry, it does matter. So he has to be held to the same standard. And I'm going to take a look at Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool adventure right now, because I will say right now
tell me how many trophies you've won with him. How many times?
What were you able to achieve under Brendan Rodgers? Let's put that into perspective.
We're talking about Jurgen Klopp. No, we're talking about Jurgen Klopp here. We're talking about Jurgen Klopp, the current administration. The current administration. Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Arteta and we're talking about Jurgen Klopp. Okay, bring the stats up. Yeah, obviously Jurgen Klopp has won one trophy, a lot of all the other trophies. Yeah, but you know something, the only thing he hasn't won is a Europa Cup. Grant that, yeah, and we don't really want that. Well, we didn't want that because we wanted Champions League. But tell me something, yeah, in 8 years, okay, he has won the Premier League 1 time, the Champions League 1 time in 8 years. That's not good enough. So why are we not sacking him?
I'm sorry, but that's a misconception. He joined your club in 2015 and for the 2015-2016 season, he was a runner-up in the League Cup and a runner-up in the Europa League.
We win it though.
He won the Champions League in 2019. He won the Premier League in 2020. So it's basically taken him now about 4 or 5 seasons to win something, but you could see a marked improvement in the style of play.
And you didn't see that with Arsenal last year.
No, but but you
can't say that, bro.
You also need to consider that when Unai Emery got sacked and Arteta came in, he actually saw the team through a dreadful spell where in his first full season we were as low as 15th. I'm sorry, but that's relegation form. And picture this. If Theo Walcott, who scored on his return to the Emirates Stadium with Southampton, had proven to score the winner, I firmly believe that Arteta would have been sacked, because at that time, we couldn't even buy a home win. And that season,
you haven't been in the Champions League for how many years, and this guy got you there?
Let me put something into perspective. We could have gotten to the Champions League by winning the Europa League. We got to the semi-final. Yeah. We got to the semi-final, and we came up against Unai Emery's Villarreal of all teams. First leg, he plays a false 9. Didn't work. We lose 2-1. But we had a precious away goal, which meant that in the second leg, if we were able to win that leg by 1-0, we would be through.
That means
Aubameyang hits the post twice, takes him off. He brings on Willian. We end up drawing 0-0, and we're out. What sort of tactics does Arteta have? So we've given him some
first job.
Okay, listen, first job maybe. But that's one of the reasons why we were willing to give him some chances. We were willing to support him after the FA Cup win, because we recognized that against all odds in that cup tournament, he was able to get the team performing well against Manchester City and Chelsea. We won the Community Shield against you lot. Sorry, I have to bring that up, but it is what it is.
That's fine.
And we were willing to support him if there was some sign of progress. But the thing about it is, it all boils down to what happens at the end of the season. And let's put something into perspective. I believe, if memory serves me right, the previous season to last season, you were ahead of Manchester City. You were neck and neck. They also, you were ahead of them. They somehow managed to win their last 14 consecutive games and pip you to the title by a whisker when you were going for a quadruple. And that, I would say, in theory, took a lot out of you, because the following season, you were very inconsistent in the league and ended up flattering to deceive. So you've actually shown much more consistent progress under Klopp in terms of improving performances and knocking on the door of results than we have.
It takes time to do that. Yeah. And that's what you guys don't want to do. You don't want to give him time. It's his first job, okay? He got you playing brilliant football. He's got you doing stuff like your other managers couldn't do. He got you to these situations, and then you guys are kind of wanting him gone. Or, well, you know what? He's not got enough. He needs to do this. He needs to do that. You know what I mean? I think you guys are very harsh.
At least when Liverpool lost the league to Manchester City by a whisker, you had played well enough to try to deserve to win, and it was just those fine margins.
But you guys are not even proud of what you've achieved. That's how bad you guys are, bro.
No, it's not even a question of we can be happy with the performances.
You guys are not. You guys are talking about. I've got that. You know what? Judgment. How can you judge? How can you be on a judgment when someone's got you into a Champions League, has got you playing brilliant football, and potentially, who's to say with what goes on in the season? Because it's happened at Liverpool, you could win a title because Chelsea are not in there for it. United are not there ready. Sorry, 1 second. All right, and even Newcastle are not ready yet. And the one person who knows Man City or the team to beat, is this guy. And this guy got you so close. Yes, granted it, there was a few mistakes being there. But you know what? Everyone has that. Jurgen Klopp has done that. But you know what? You guys got to be proud of your team, all right? Think, you know what? Let's go again. And then be judged maybe in a few years' time when you're at that high where you could challenge. Look at Liverpool fans right now, okay? We've been there consistently there for 5 years, challenging, And you know why we don't want Jurgen Klopp? Because he, at the moment, okay, he can't rebuild a team. And when he's trying to rebuild a team, or if there's an issue with the owners that are not giving him money and stuff like that, or his team doesn't last 5 years, that's a problem. And that is when you can judge someone. But you know what? You just had that taste of like, potentially winning a Premier League or getting back to your days, Your guys are in a Champions League right now, You're bringing in 105 million pound players with brilliant, with credentials, You guys are still judging this guy. Give him a bit more time, bruvs.
Oh, we're going to give him time. Don't you worry about that. We will give him this season. And the reason why many of us are going to give him this season, and if he fails, we want him gone, is because he has had his chances. At least when Klopp came in, you were starting to challenge. When Arteta came in, we weren't. 15th at one point in his first full season. And please don't give me the stuff about, it's his first job and everything. Because look, when he came in and won the FA Cup, several Arsenal fans were thinking he is the perfect man for the job. And then we ended up going through that season. And then we were ahead of Tottenham in the race for the Champions League spot the following season. We had games in hand. We had points in hand. We blew that away. And the same thing happened. We had an 8-point advantage and we completely lost it. So are we happy with the way the team at least showed progress and improvement? Absolutely. But are we happy with the way the season ended and how they completely how they conducted themselves and how the manager completely conducted himself tactically with regard to squad selection? No way, because some of the decisions he made, including against your lot at Anfield, were absolutely dire. Ramsdale did make a couple of gaffes, but but had it not been for his saves against Mohamed Salah, we would have lost that game to you lot. And then Ramsdale went on to make a few more absolute howlers against West Ham and Southampton and Brighton anyway. So the reason why, the reason that some cases it is down to the manager because
no, that's individual mistake.
Poor selection, poor team selections.
So what? Your goalkeeper's a poor selection then when he's made mistakes, or is that not down to
I'm not mentioning the goalkeeper.
You just said no.
I'm not mentioning the goalkeeper. I am mentioning his decision to stick with Zinchenko because he adds so much more to the midfield, but can't defend the toppy and cost us so many goals. I am mentioning several other individual mistakes that he has made, and those mistakes have indeed cost us. And the worst part is he showed no willingness to learn from his mistakes.
And
he played an unchanged team from the loss to Brighton against Nottingham Forest, and we got beaten over there. Goodbye title. That was.
Yeah, so did we. We got beaten by Nottingham Forest. We got beaten by Leeds.
But that was in the middle of the season. And obviously you made an amazing recovery. It was just for naught. And you had an inconsistent season.
Yeah.
Next season, we're going to take a look and see how everything goes. I do believe that we should be able to secure Champions League football, and it is the responsibility of Arteta to do so.
So what's the problem? What's the problem?
And here's the thing. Many of us are going to demand that he starts taking the other tournaments seriously. I don't see him doing well in the Champions League. I don't see him doing well in the FA. I don't see him doing enough to win the Cups either. Maybe a semi-final or two. At least he should show that he's taking things seriously. But we do need to have some trophies. But that's the big problem. I really don't have confidence in Arteta the way he will take us further. And listen, Arteta has been given so much backing. He's been given a lot of money this season. He's got some of the players he wants. Now he has no excuses. And so we're going to hold his feet to the fire. If he does succeed, we will support him. If he doesn't succeed, we will demand change. Just the way that you are demanding change.
But there's nothing wrong with that. You judge someone based on those kind of situations. But what you guys achieved last year, yes, it wasn't the ultimate thing, yeah. But what you achieved last year is not just when we talk about winning trophies and stuff like that. That is ultimately what you're judged on. Goals as strikers, that's what you're judged on. But what Arsenal needed to be judged on last season was they're a team that people need to take seriously. The only team that obviously that was one better than you last season was the only team that everyone wants to beat, a Man City. Arsenal and what he got you doing last year, okay, was brilliant. And what I'm saying is, yes, absolutely, he's been given huge money now, okay, and you got to judge him. But if he wins something, okay, like what Klopp has done, all right, then obviously, you know what I mean? He's going to be in the same boat.
700 million pounds.
It's a lot of money, absolutely. But you know something? You are in a better position, right? Last year, or the year before that, when obviously Tottenham beat you to the top four, yeah, that was bad. But what did you do the following year? Got you playing brilliant football, got you an identity, and got you what you were. But effectively, when people talk about Jurgen Klopp and they talk about Arteta, yeah, if he wins you a trophy, if he wins you that one Premier League, they're ultimately the same. Because you know what? As far as I'm concerned, you see the Carabao Cups, they're honours and stuff like that, and FA Cups, yeah? But everyone wants a Champions League and a Premier League. That's as simple as that, yeah? Now, what this guy's done is given you an opportunity, along with the good players and the way he plays, all right? It's got you some brilliant players that Arsenal wouldn't have never got maybe a few years ago. United and Chelsea would have got probably Rice. Martinelli wouldn't want to sign there. Saka would probably want to be going to Man United or something like that. He's got you guys settled. He's got the fans back on side. Well, majority of them anyway, yeah? When you go to Arsenal now, you go to the Arsenal Stadium, yeah? What happens there? You know what I mean? People, like when Liverpool went there, we weren't that great. You know what I mean? We were worried because you know what? That's a stadium now. That's a fact that they brought back the football. They brought back the atmosphere and everything. This guy's done. And you know, when you look at obviously like Klopp, he's done something similar to Liverpool. Granted, he's had, you know, he was obviously at a Dortmund team and stuff like that. But it's not bad what Arteta's started and what he's achieved so far with this one club so far. He's learned all the things off the master. to come into Arsenal, yeah, and get them playing like that, yeah. And if you win a couple of trophies along the line, Champions League or Premier League or stuff like that, he's got to be one of the greatest managers you've had. One, not the best, but you know what? It's got to be up there with one of the legends. Because
if my aunt had a mustache, she'd be my uncle. And we're going to see what happens this season. But the worst part about last season was the team started to find us out. They knew that with the way we played with the high line, you just plonk a long ball over the top of that, our defense would be left empty. Somebody will rush along like a Theo Walcott did once again at the Emirates and score past us.
We had that problem with Klopp as well, bro. We had that same problem. We play a high line and people are plopping it over Van Dijk, you know, where he's got no legs no more. So that's what I'm saying. That, you know, the two managers, when people keep saying Jurgen Klopp is brilliant, yeah, he's this, he's that, and the other, and you want him, yeah, he's the same. He's very similar to a lot of other managers. And careful what you wish for, and not you generally, but people what they say. Because when people say, you know what, they love Klopp, trust me, when you have someone sentimental like that and he's doing the mistakes that we do, yeah, he's the same as Arteta. So that means if you think Arteta's rubbish, Klopp has got to be rubbish. Or if you think Klopp is great, Arteta's got to be decent as well. And he will do that. Trust me, he's got no excuses now. He spent a lot of money this summer. And if he does bring it in, then absolutely he should be judged. I'm not disputing that. But between now and then, yeah, no one can say that this guy's not good for you.
Improvement does not equal success. And look, we're going to give him time. At the end of the day, it is the trophies that matter. And it's also going to be how we play and how we respond and how everything happens that will, you know, determine everything.
But
we talk about how, and I'm going to respond to BEX Gunner's entire gist. He talks about how we're getting our Arsenal back. Nothing succeeds like success. We have the same problem in the last few years with Arsene Wenger, where we would consistently qualify for the Champions League, but hardly win a single trophy for peanuts, except for maybe a few FA Cups here and there. And people got impatient with that and wanted him gone. We could end up in the same cycle under Arteta unless things improve. And that's why I'm going to say he will be judged not only on the football he plays this season, not only on how teams play against us and how he evolves his tactics and changes his tactics against the better teams, but also how his signings perform and how the team really starts to cook. And if things don't happen for the better, then we are going to make our feelings known. Mark my words. We did it with Arsene Wenger, and it won't be long before the same thing happens under Arteta if we fail to cook, as people would say.
But that's what's coming.
And with regard to Klopp, I wouldn't touch him now with a barge pole because he's done more of his time. I wanted him then. I wouldn't necessarily have him now because I think he's grown probably a little bit long in the tooth and might need a challenge away from the Premier League. But back then, when he was about to sign for Liverpool, and if you asked me if I would have taken him, I would have said, yes, please. Or as they would say in German, ja, bitte. Das stimmt.
I love it.
Steve Mahala, yeah. You've heard two of this guest, yeah. I
Great
respect
debate.
two of them anyway.
By the way.
Steve, you've heard them go back and forth. Make a lot of yeah. See, I've been enjoying the chaos. Yeah, I enjoy this chaos because it's healthy.
He's got his glasses
You're
on.
a pot stirrer, Tony. You're a pot stirrer.
We've lost our voice. We've lost our voices, yeah, and you're just sitting there like this.
And that's what I like. Provided there's no violence, no one is abusing each other, and they have mutual respect. I'm okay with that.
Absolutely. I've got money. You know how it goes, isn't it?
You've been hearing
I do.
Go back and forth. What can you add to this? Steve Mahala, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I was just fixing something up. Yeah, I'm back. I'm
here. I'm just in the background. Yeah.
Anyways, for me about Arteta, I mean, I think he might have hit his ceiling, but what I would say is I would not be surprised if there is success incoming, just like there was at Liverpool with Klopp, how you held on to him. If Brighton hold on to De Zerbi for the next, I don't know, it don't happen anymore, but let's say 10 years, they'll probably win a trophy or get into Europe or do something big and bad if they just keep him on. My worry for Arteta is that some of the mistakes he's been making for a while now. And the fact that The biggest thing for me about Arteta is that the fact that he seems so settled on the starting 11, and on the bench, everybody talks about how important it is to have versatile players, a bench, other options, etc. And when there is a clear problem in a moment that matters, or in a match that matters, he didn't switch it up at the right time. And it was the ultimate demise of it. Obviously, the players take blame for that. They're the ones on the field, but the ones directing them and putting them into positions to succeed is Arteta.
Big
I
up
just
CFCOG, new member of the channel.
Hey,
big up to CFCOG. We love you, man. Big up.
I just think, and especially in the European games, he struggles. To me, it seems like he struggles with that because you're playing against different teams, different styles. A lot of Premier League teams, they play differently, but you know what I'm saying. Portuguese teams have these kind of players, and they're not as physical, whatever. You know what I'm saying. Germans play a certain way, that kind of thing. I think it would hugely benefit Arteta as a manager. I like what I've seen in terms of the football. Oh, geez, I froze.
Sorry, guys. I've got to run as well. I've got a prior engagements. It's gone a little bit more than my time. But listen, it was an absolute pleasure, man. Absolute pleasure. And yeah, bro, you know what I mean? I'd love to finish this debate and, you know, or even be judged later on it and stuff like that later on during the season or at the end of next season or whatever, man. But
see, I'll square you and money up very soon.
We'll do it, man. We'll do it. You know what I mean?
I'll square you and money up again.
Yeah,
I love
but
this.
guys, listen. Most importantly, okay, because this is what it is, okay. It's a matter of opinions. No one is right, no one's wrong. Okay, I got nothing but love for Manny anyway. So even if we get heated and stuff like that, this is based on not who's better and nothing like that. It's just opinion and it's entertainment. And I've got nothing but huge respect for everybody in the football community. Yeah, some people chat real shit, you know what I mean? They're just trolls. But you know what? We're both passionate about our clubs. I want Jurgen Klopp to be perfect, but then I'm pretty sure you guys want Arteta to be perfect. That's how the way it is. And this is business at the end of the day. And we're judged by trophies and we're judged by a lot of things. But sometimes, all I say is sometimes you've got to start somewhere, and it's got to start bad, and frustrations and heartache and all the rest of it. When someone like Ancelotti says, you know, something about like, you know, they were easy to prepare against because we play the same way, you know, that's very hurtful. And you know what? When all I say is like to Arsenal fans in particular, obviously, yeah, from a rival's point of view, all I'm saying is like, you know what? Just be careful in it because, you know, you can end up with someone worse than him, and then you'll be looking back. And we could say the same about Jurgen Klopp. You know what I mean? So that could be thrown back at me. So that's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? But guys, I've got to run, but it's been a pleasure. Make sure you smash the like, and you know what? There's nothing but love, and I'll see you guys soon.
Right back at you. Enjoy your commitment, and we will chat soon. Take care of yourself.
Definitely, man. All right. See you later, guys. In a bit.
That's a definite one.
Yeah, but I mean,
Manny, thanks for showing up today, man. It's absolute pleasure, man. Absolute pleasure. Yeah, Steve, you were saying something.
I was just gonna say, the thing for me again, like the versatility thing, like Zinchenko. When y'all brought him in, it was like, this guy's versatile. Look, he's played on the wing for cities before. He's played at right back. He's played at left back. He's played at midfield, attacking midfield. And then Arteta only plays him as a left back. It's like, well, you can't really flex something that you don't use, right? Like, and when there was a clear problem in midfield and there was a clear problem at left back, and you have a left back on the bench and you have a midfielder like Partey who struggled a lot at the end, he wasn't the only one. That's the kind of thing where it's like, you got to do better. You got to do better than that. It's I know we're all just armchair analysts, but we're not wrong. We're not wrong in that criticism. So, I mean, again, for me, I think if he went out to La Liga, if he went to Bundesliga, if he went abroad, I think that could hugely benefit his career, because look at all the managers that are coming into the Premier League that have no Premier League experience. Klopp, had no Premier League experience, never even kicked the ball in England as a player. Same with Pep Guardiola. You know, these guys, De Zerbi, who we all rave about. Potter was managing in Sweden and whatnot, and then did all right at Brighton and built a foundation, but wasn't, you know, wasn't the guy for Chelsea, whatever. Like, I think it's hugely, I just feel like the Premier League is such an echo chamber sometimes, such a confined space that managers, I feel like English players also, they don't get out and abroad that much. And it's just like, there's real value in going, expanding your horizons. And for me, Arteta still has a lot to learn. He's done a lot right. Like the football you guys were playing was really good to watch, and there was a plan. But that's the thing, when you have a plan and then the plan doesn't work, because it isn't always going to work. You got to come up with a solution, bang, right away, because we expect that of the top managers. When Pep Guardiola in a match is like, okay, something's going wrong, he adjusts the tactics, brings on subs, does whatever it needs to do. Sometimes it don't happen, but at least he tried something.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, I feel like Arteta just caved in, or not caved in. He maybe he felt like he would be caving in if he brought in a Tierney and switched it up, because it's like, oh, now I'm going against what's worked the whole season. Well, but we're at this point now. The whole season is the whole season. That's great. But right here, right now, there's a decision or something else you could be trying that could be the solution to the problem. The Zinchenko one for me. And for me, y'all need a left back, because it reminds me, and I'm surprised Baz didn't mention this, when you have a weakness in your squad or in that 11 or whatever, and the next season you replace it adequately with a strong, a good signing like Liverpool did with Alisson and Van Dijk. Those guys came in, and then I believe the next year they won the Premier League after the Karius Howler, or at least challenged, and then gone on to win a UCL as well. I feel like if Arteta did that, that's something that I don't see him doing that at Arsenal. If he went to a Sevilla, Real Sociedad, somewhere like that, maybe he could get that experience. But I don't know. His stubbornness and the fixation on, oh, I have to do it this way is that was the problem.
You've made a brilliant point there, Makala. You can die by your sword and die gallantly, but you still die. That's the thing. And that is one thing that sometimes people have to learn. I'm currently following the Ashes cricket right now, and people were raving about the way England were playing coming into the series. But now they've lost the first test match and are in danger of losing this one. And people are starting to criticize the approach, saying it's fine to go all gung-ho. It's fine to play such sexy, seductive, silky football against some smaller teams who don't expect that kind of football and, get the results you want. But against some big teams, under some tactically astute managers who have the Indian side against you, you found out. It's what happened against Ten Hag at Old Trafford. It's what happened against Sean Dyche at Everton. And against Manchester City, we got spanked 7-2 on aggregate because the student simply didn't learn from the master, and he didn't learn the important lesson that, if things don't work, you've got to change it. And that's exactly what Guardiola did. Guardiola publicly rubbished Kyle Walker, saying that he will never fit into my system. But then he realized that playing a back three wouldn't really work at the best of times. So he switched to a back four. Then when Aki got injured, Akanji went to the left. Walker came back in and was magisterial. It was very harsh when he was dropped for the Champions League final, but at least he came on as a sub and proved that he still had it. Yeah. Like Gundogan, he'll also probably leave because City are a club which is also quite ruthless. And Baz had a point when he says that when you are too sentimental towards players who are starting to, dip a little bit, that can be a problem.
It starts to rot. What's that quote from Batman? You either leave when you're a hero, or you stay long enough to become the villain. That kind of thing.
Well, that's what Arsene Wenger did. That's what Arsene Wenger did, and he stayed too long, ended up becoming a villain. Ferguson never became a villain because he was able to change and evolve as a manager as the seasons went by. And when he retired, he was a Premiership winner. Again.
Yeah. What were you saying, Tony?
Yeah, Manny, see. do you agree that this coming season, yeah, it is the most important season for Mikel Arteta? If he fumbles this season, do you think he has to leave the football club? What is your take on this? This coming
He
season, how
has
important is this coming season for Mikel Arteta?
he has to leave. He has to leave. And the reason why he has to leave, and I know a lot of people that Baz would say, well, Klopp was given so much time, and he was able to, and he had to win. But look, within his first 4 seasons, he ended up winning the Champions League, and then he won the Premiership the following year. Yeah. So Arteta will now be given 4 full seasons. He'll have no excuse if he doesn't win anything. And you know, the worst part is that this particular season will now be a test because we've seen him complain about, you know, having a bigger workload of games. And then when we ended up getting knocked out of the cup competitions, we ended up having 1 game a week and we still couldn't hold on to our lead. We allowed teams to, you know, knock us over, rip our prided system of football apart. And we just didn't even seem to have an answer. It's as if, you know, we started to give up again and have all those bad habits from seasons gone by coming back to bite us in the backside. So, and also people talk about how he's changed the culture. In many ways, several of these players, I'm looking at a certain goalkeeper from Stoke-on-Trent, mind you, have become a little bit arrogant in a way, and actually think that they're the bee's knees and better than they actually are. Another one would be a certain someone who has an iconic jersey worn by an absolute legend of the game. You know who I'm talking about, Mr. Nketiah. Now, these players in question have now got to really, you know, pull their fingers out of their mouths and start delivering because the Premiership is a long season. And this is going to be a real test of this new attitude, so to speak. Because Klopp also, when he came in, he did a lot to change the culture under that was prevalent under Rodgers when he got sacked. And when he came in, he started making some changes. I think Baz mentioned that when Coutinho was sold, he was able to get some more players in. But he got some players who were, you know, determined to win and determined to do well. He was ruthless enough to throw Karius aside after that Champions League horror show. And at least when Mignolet left, he left as a Champions League winner, even if he wasn't going to be good enough to be first choice for too long. So that was how you become a little bit ruthless. And he is letting Milner go. He's letting Oxlade-Chamberlain go. Henderson might stay for another season. And he's not. I don't think he's going to be as sentimental as Baz would think he is. He knows that some players have pretty much, you know, overstayed their welcome, and they are going to have to leave. And so that is something that will happen with him. But the problem with Arteta is that he's got his favorites that no matter how poorly they play in some cases, they're still going to be preferred no matter what. And I'm referring to a certain Ukrainian who may be wonderful as a midfielder but can't defend for Tuffy. And he doesn't have anywhere near enough clout in the game to have that sort of a holier-than-thou attitude as a manager in many ways. And that is my biggest issue with him. It's all about doing your business on the pitch and making sure that you can win something. And if he doesn't win at the end of his 4th full season, I'm sorry, but if Jurgen Klopp could, you know, prove his worth by winning Liverpool a 6th Champions League title, unexpected, yes, but definitely a major trophy. There is no reason why Arteta, with the backing that he has, should not deliver this season. And this upcoming season, he will be tested. We will hold his feet to the fire. We cannot forgive or forget the collapse of last season. We cannot forgive or forget the early exits from the Cups. I'm sorry, but if he doesn't achieve anything, he's got to leave. I'm not going to take any chances with the manager who will promise so much, but again, deliver nothing. We cannot afford to continue being sold horses and delivered donkeys.
I just don't think Arsenal should be. I just don't think Arsenal should be Arteta's learning ground. Past, I mean, if he got sacked now, I would understand it. I would probably do it just to look for someone else. But at some point, you got to be like, look, you may have something going for you. That's great, but we got to move on because you've hit a certain you've hit a certain ceiling, and you can't get through that unless we let go of you, and you need to blah 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 whatever. That's my thing for me. I just like he just some of the mistakes and the decisions, like bringing in Havertz. I know he hasn't kicked the ball for Arsenal, but like that one right away, it's like that's a really high risk medium reward at best. It's a high reward if he plays like Leverkusen Havertz, but when does that ever happen where a guy's been out of form for 4 years and then just turns up and rips it apart?
Well, I mean, to be fair, Havertz did score for Germany recently, so maybe they're hoping that
And that's one of the worst German sides in their history.
Absolutely.
And I'm not happy.
But see, guys, yeah, I've brought in. But see, guys, I've brought in lots of lots of YouTubers here, podcasters. Yeah. Some of them very big one that own big time channels. I've asked these guys, mostly from Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and I've asked them, what do you think about Mikel Arteta? And almost all of them, including the champions, Man City podcasters, they're all saying, stick with Mikel Arteta. They've said he's changed the culture. They've said at least he got us challenging for the title last season. So I don't know. These other clubs want us to keep Mikel Arteta, and not just the Man City fans. The Liverpool fans are saying the same thing. The Manchester United fans are saying the same thing.
They're gonna win the league anyway.
So, that there's what they say that some Arsenal fans aren't saying, but see, whatever, all this argument, because even me, I'm still in the middle. But see, this season will determine lots of stuff for this football club when it comes to the coach. Mikel Arteta has to deliver. He has to deliver a title next season. So let's see. He's gotten us to the Champions League. Let's see what he does. So I think this coming season will be his true test. Exactly. And if he fumbles on this one, the jury's out to get him definitely in this one. Steve Mahala, this will be the last question. You've seen Arsenal's movement and shenanigans in the transfer market. Does this give you hope? I know you're a Newcastle fan. Me and you will be talking next week when we come back to Gunners and Mags. But you know what? Yeah, Steve, just talk to me as a neutral. Yeah, as a neutral. You're just a neutral football lover, yeah? Good. And you see Arsenal making all this movement in the transfer window. What do you think about it? Do you genuinely see them as a team that has changed their attitude in the transfer market if they do bring these guys in? And does it make any kind of sense to you? Havertz and Declan Rice and Timber, all the signings, yeah? What do you think about it? Just look at it holistically.
Declan Rice, a slight overpay, but you have to do that sometimes if you want a player. Just like if I really want a kit that I've been looking for, I might have to pay an extra $20 because it's a rare shirt. Whatever. I can take the hit because it's what I want and I know I want it, right? So Rice, for me, perfect. Boom. Pretty obvious. Havertz, again, I think that will be the worst signing of the summer. I just... why would you take such a gamble on a guy that has produced very little with consistency? That's the word, consistency. Performances are uninspiring. For a guy that tall, he doesn't win many headers, and it's like, why would you even do that? Because that was never his game at Leverkusen. That one I wouldn't. If you told me Newcastle signed him Havertz for $60 million, I'd be pretty furious about that, if I'm honest. But so I'm not a fan of that one. Jurrien Timber's interesting. Because at Ajax last year, they were absolutely god-awful from start to finish, pretty much, for their standards as a legendary club. Third, they got their lowest. They were closer to sixth place than they were to the champions Feyenoord, who absolutely destroyed that league, the Eredivisie. There was no rhyme or reason as to what Alfred Schreuder, originally their manager going in as Ten Hag's replacement, was doing. He was playing Timber as a center back, a right back, a defensive midfielder alongside Edson Alvarez. Then Alvarez the next game would play as a center back, and then Bassi, their new signing from Rangers, Calvin Bassi, would play as a left back, then a center back. And I've seen him play right center back. Dusan Tadic, who was, we all know, Tadic at Ajax over the years. You play him as a false nine. He's been playing. He played him as an attacking midfielder, right wing, left wing, scrambled with formation, scrambled with player positions. There was nothing, no flow. Ball progression was terrible. It was all sideways, cut to the right, cut to the left, cross, nothing. They were not a very fluid or good team. And then defensively, it was pretty shocking too. Timber defensively worries me a lot. He's got a lot of room to grow. On the ball, he's terrific. And going forward, he's terrific. But there were many games for Ajax last year in the Champions League too. I remember particularly the game against Napoli where they carved them open home and away. Timber would just go dilly-dally along with the ball. No one else was covering their position because this guy was starting there last week, and then it was just a mess. And Timber's got a lot of room to grow.
But McCann, listen. With regard to Timber, I'm sorry to cut in, but listen, we saw him in the World Cup with the Netherlands under Louis van Gaal playing as part of that back five system, which served them really well. Yeah. Isn't there something to say that maybe he would shine as a third centre back in a back five rather than being, shoehorned into a back four where he may not be as effective?
Yeah, but I wouldn't play him. World Cup. Yeah, I definitely agreed. They're more defensive, obviously, than Ajax. I mean, but then again, Ajax, I don't know what they were trying to do last year. You don't put him in the middle, though. Like, for example, Maguire in that back three for England, what he does, he just heads the ball out. That's all he does. Aerially, Timber, no, not it at all.
I'm not saying don't put him in the middle. It was Van Dijk in the middle, Aki on the left, and Timber on the right. And that was where he was well. Good.
Do you guys see Arteta playing in a back three, though?
But again, Timber is also good in the middle. Also, he's a decent player in the middle. Also,
I think he will. From what I've seen from Urian, I think he will develop for you guys as a deep lying playmaker. I think that's what ultimately will be his best position. At center back, I'm unconvinced. At right back, great cover for Ben White. I don't think he starts over Ben White. You put him in midfield if Partey or Xhaka's leaving. That's what I would do.
Not too sure about that. I
don't know what Arteta's going to do.
I'm intrigued as a right back option. I also could potentially see him as a as cover for Saliba because of the similar qualities that you say he has. Excellent with the ball at his feet, good awareness and reading of the game. Look, that Napoli team last season would carve any defense open, and we saw what happened. It took a really good Milan team to halt them in their tracks, but last season they were ripping teams apart, and Ajax weren't the only ones. Let's not forget.
Yeah, no, but that wasn't the only time that Ajax were terrible. They drew with Volendam, who just got promoted. That was a game that Schreuder got sacked, and that was, I believe, November, December time. It was like a 1-1 draw. Terrible from Ajax. And there were a bunch of games like that. The interim manager that I'm blanking on his name, he stepped in and did all right, but they hired they decided to get a new manager from Sparta Rotterdam. So we'll see how that goes. But I mean, for me, from what I saw,
please shout out where people could find you. We have to go 3-hour mark reaching.
Reaching the 3-hour mark. And listen,
me and Steve will be next week. Gunners and Max will be back next week.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing that. First of all, big up to you, Tony. As we agree, brother, it's wonderful to come back. I've missed being on here, and you can be a little bit of a pot stirrer at times, but whenever I come on, it's all fun and games. Absolutely enjoy it, and it might be 3 hours, but I come away feeling quite entertained, I have to say. Big up to you. You can catch me on several channels on YouTube.
Yeah, me too.
Big up as well to Matt the Southern Gooner. I've been a regular on his channel of late. Really terrific discussions we have. Big up to, of course, to my usuals, Del Boy Gunner TV, S Featley TV, which I'm still trying to get off the mark. I've been busy with a lot of commitments, but I am looking to start that up at least in time for the beginning of this upcoming season. Oris Talks Football, Coach's Corner with Hanno Trollope, where we are covering the current Ashes series in cricket going on. And, of course, Danny AFC TV, big up to Up the Cherries in All Departments, a Bournemouth fan channel. And huge big up to Jez Collins' channel, Arsenal History and more. We just recently did a stream on Highbury versus the Emirates, and there will be more in that pipeline coming up soon. AFC Talk Show TV, Villa TV, and several other channels. Eugene Spurs Asia TV, Spurs fan channel where I come on as more of a calm, neutral with no. I come there in peace, really, and I love coming on these streams to have debates, and I think, as Baz said, it's all opinions, but we always have respect for one another, and we always just want to see things get a little bit better and offer our perspective. We have to learn to respect each other as equals, or we will perish together as fools, as the wise person once said. Let's all be respectful to one another. That's my motto. Social media, catch me on Instagram at Manny Thangadarai 1981, my full name and my year of birth. Twitter, Thangadarai 1981, my surname and my year of birth. And it's been a long time. I really need to go to sleep. Also, big up to everyone in the chat, everyone who's agreed with me, everyone who's disagreed with me. Every single one of your opinions are valid. You are the reasons why this video and Tony's channel are what they are. And I hope you all take care of yourselves. Enjoy this upcoming weekend. Obviously, no football, but there will be a lot more football-related news to discuss. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy. Don't do anything that the three of us and our other panelists wouldn't do. Big up to JPT, Thomason, and also Baz Ramella, LVFC TV. And for now, I am out for the count, and I need to go to sleep.
Fair enough.
Big ups.
There is football on, by the way, Manny. CONCACAF
It's a
Gold
pleasure
Cup.
having you.
I'm not able to watch that.
I know.
Tell them where they could find you.
Yeah, you can find me Strasbourg Steve.
Yeah, where can people find you, Steve?
Yeah, you can find me Strasbourg Steve on YouTube, and then Twitter Stove Mahala, Stove STOVE MACHALA, and then Strasbourg Steve Kits on Instagram. So yeah, that's what I got going on. But yeah, thanks for having me on. Good speaking with you too. You too, defo.
Yeah, thanks, man. See ya, guys. Catch me on Matt's channel. Me and him, we have a special tomorrow, a transfer special tomorrow on his channel.
Ooh,
so come join us. That will be 3 p.m. UK time. So come join me and the Southern Gunner as we talk transfers tomorrow. It's see, jollof rice is gonna be cooking tomorrow, man. So Matt's gonna be talking lots about the transfers and how we're cooking in the market. So let's see, that will be an interesting watch tomorrow. So guys, come join us in the afternoon tomorrow on Saturday. Just come chill with us as we talk transfers, me and Matt. Also next week, me and Steve Mahala will be back with Gooners and Max. New season of it. We'll be starting one-on-one. We'll be talking transfers also and talking about projections of our football clubs going to the next season. Manitan Gadra will be coming back also next week, also if he's available with us. So big ups. Thank you everyone for joining us. And from here, yeah, thanks, sure, Manny. We're signing out. Big ups.